Okay, calling the neighborhood board meeting to order. Let the record state it's 6:01 p.m. We're gonna start off with the emergency responder monthly reports. We have the Honolulu Fire Department.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Hadlock from the Kahalu'u Fire Station and have the statistics for this past month of March. We had 7 fires, which were all determined nuisance fires, 46 medical calls, 3 motor vehicle crashes, and 3 ocean rescue incidents. Couple questions from last month's board meeting that I wanted to address. We had a question about posting incidents that occur on the Pu'umailele Trail, as that it's a private land. And answer to that, first, let me just say, so it's difficult for us to be able to communicate from the fire station because we're 3 different watches. So we tell each other what's going on day to day, but we don't keep track of one another's stats. So there is a website, and HFD is trying to update, kind of modernizing and adding information to the site. It's dashboard will have a map feature providing capability to look at any incidents, including mountain rescues on the island. So just ask for patience until that's been completed. There was another question about possible incident on Waihe'e Road involving, I think, a pedestrian versus auto. So I could say our watch didn't have anything involving that, but they did look into all incidents from the first 2 weeks of March, and there was only 1 motor vehicle accident that was dispatched, and that was at Cam Highway and Waihe'e, and the arriving unit found an unoccupied SUV into a light pole with no other victims. So possibly someone else or HPD only responded, or EMS, I'm not sure, but nothing in our records. All right, and lastly, the safety tip for this month, we have the evacuation planning safety tip, and that is to ensure that you have an emergency preparedness plan in place for situations like fires, natural disasters, or environmental emergencies, and to familiarize yourself with at least 2 escape routes from your own home with an evacuation path. And if you have to leave your neighborhood for a severe emergency like a tsunami or something. And for more information, you can visit fire.honolulu.gov. And they have some bullet points to leave early, to avoid being trapped by fire smoke or traffic. Set up a predetermined meeting spot, such as a neighbor's house or relative's home in a low-risk area. And bring your emergency supply kit with essential items for your family and any pets. Do we have any questions from, yes.
Vice Chair.
Mahalo. Could you define nuisance fire for us, please?
Right, so it's a fire that is not structural or motor vehicle or brush related. So usually rubbish or various contents of a non-structural area.
Okay, mahalo. And Kalamai, did you say 46 or 36 medical assists?
46.
46, thank you.
Mahalo. Uncle John.
So this is actually this month, I think, April. There was a pretty major fire, really black smoke in Waikane. There have been a lot of fires like that. Is that one of the nuisance fires you're talking about?
So those would have been determined potentially to be a nuisance if it's just rubbish that's burning, yes. Or if there's automobiles sometimes, then it would be an automobile fire. But yeah, we responded to one of those, and I know that was early April, right, last week.
Right.
And yes, that could be. And they are, I think, able to be reported. And we have the incident reports, right, to use as information if someone was looking into trying to
So that's been a
Yes.
a recurring problem. I know from talking to others in the fire department. So I'd like to know more information about that because that's a real problem. There's a lot of trash being burned up there, roofing material, cars. So if you could help us by giving us a little more detail specifically about Waikani Valley Road.
Calamite, is there a way we can request from the fire chief the fire report other than that system that's coming?
Right. So you don't go through the fire chief directly,
Okay.
the office, but yeah, you can make a request within the Honolulu.gov website. And in terms of getting the access to all the information, that's something that would have to be determined based on the request. Okay.
Thanks.
Mahalo. Uncle Cliff?
Yeah. What's your thought on the speed hump on? Oh, smile. That's
No,
nice.
I think that they serve a good purpose. I'm glad they're
Yeah.
putting it by the school. It does slow people down.
Yes.
I mean, it slows us down on our response as well.
It was a lot. I
Um,
mean, I watch
so-
you guys,
Yes.
but you just created another toy for the kids. You never see them yet in the evenings, guys. You watch the e-bikes. They're doing wheelies on there.
Mahalo,
Because the
Cliff.
hump is bigger, so they go on top and they just yank them.
Thanks, Uncle Cliff. We'll make sure it's addressed. Any other questions online, in person? And mahalo. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Moving on to Honolulu Police Department, we have HPD. Okay, we're gonna move. We'll circle back on HPD if they come back online later on in the meeting. We're gonna move on to filling vacancies on the board. We have the election of officers. We have a secretary open. Anyone want to nominate anybody to be secretary? Anyone like to run for secretary? Seeing none in person, seeing none online. Okay, moving on to board member vacancies. We do have 2 vacancies for Subdistrict 6. We do also have an election coming up. And so just be aware to place your votes for that as well when the time comes. Okay. So Vice Chair just informed me that we do have no candidates currently running for Subdistrict 6. So the vacancies will still remain open. So if anyone does have any interest in serving on the board for that subdistrict, just talk to Rachel. So Subdistrict 6 is going to run on that street that goes behind Times Supermarket and that shopping center there. So all those townhouses and condominiums in the back there. Mahalo.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there still a consideration to do at-large seats?
I've considered it. If the board would be open to it, I'd be more than willing to agendize it, just for the sake of filling vacancies and getting more members on the board. Any other questions online? Okay, moving on. We have city, state, federal reports. We have the mayor's report. Regina couldn't be with us. Regina is our mayor's rep, so I do have the memo. I'm just going to read that aloud. Highlights and announcements from this month's mayor's newsletter include Mayor Belangiardi's town hall meetings across Oahu return for the 3rd year in a row. The Neil S. Blaisdell Center Concert Hall reopens after back-of-house renovations. The Department of Parks and Recreation begins annual push to hire staff for the city's summer fun program. The city commemorates Hokule'a's 50th anniversary at Kuolo Regional Park. Honolulu Charter Commission members are sworn in for decennial review of the city charter and a briefing on how residents can download the HNL Alert, the city's new alert system for natural disasters and emergency situations. The April 2025 edition of the mayor's newsletter can be found online at www.honolulu.gov/mayor/newsletter. The department issues follow-up. So there was a question regarding allowability of Honolulu sporting goods. So member Rapun asked if the private property that's being leased to Honolulu Sporting Goods up by Waikani Valley Road is allowed to do certifications and training for federal officers. He reported the firing range is operating all day on Fridays and Saturdays as late as 9:30 p.m. and the Honolulu Police Department has responded to a call on the property. DPP responded, the Department of Planning and Permitting. They had responded saying that it is not entirely clear which site is being referred to, but the lots in the area of Waikane Valley Road are in the State Land Use Agricultural District. Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 205 does not list firing ranges as a permissible use in the SLU Agricultural District. Furthermore, the record does not indicate any permit applications for such land were submitted and no approvals were issued. There is a second question regarding tented chickens at the Kahalu'u Regional Park. So the question was, what steps need to be taken to have these chickens removed? Member Rapun asked for ordinance signs to be up as there are not any currently, and shared that he has been in contact with Director Thielen. Department of Parks and Rec, DPR, they responded saying that there are DPR PK-01 signs posted that state animals are prohibited in the park. And SPO enforcement was performed on February 27, 2025, which removed all of the chickens and tents that were present. The city's customer services department currently has a feral chicken contract for the city and county of Honolulu properties. For any questions, concerns, or to schedule feral chicken removal, please call 808-768-4381. Any questions, concerns from board members in person? Online?
Chair,
Yes, Ian, go ahead.
really quick, with regards to Hokule'a's 50th birthday, an idea came forward from one of our groups in our community. Perhaps we should put a star compass on the roundabout to celebrate Hokule'a's 50th birthday, rather than have it as black asphalt. So I don't know if this is the appropriate time and moment, but that was an idea put forward with a group that might want to help us put it together to give us direction on our new highway.
It's a good idea. I kind of like that. We could talk further on that if the board is open. And yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think a beautification project there for Hokulea would be great, especially considering the fact of where we're at.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, moving on. We're gonna move on to Councilmember Kia Aina online.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Chair, I wanted to add to your update on the chickens. Most recently, in addition to city properties, because our kuleana is city properties, they actually have a vendor to go on when you have problems on private property. So I recommend that people go to the Department of Customer Services, because they actually have a wonderful one-pager that explains the kuleana. So it would be private property and city property, state and federal would be the other governments. I wanted to update you on invasive species, because I know it's important to many of your community members. As you know, I've been trying to better coordinate overall city policy among the agencies on invasive species management. I haven't been completely successful, but we're getting there. So in response to my call to do that via resolution, the Department of Parks and Recreations, the Horticultural Services Branch, and the Botanical Gardens have been the most, responsive of all the agencies. But I have told the administration that I'm not satisfied. I didn't ask for a DPR update. I asked for a coordinated response. But we're getting there. Second, the base yard for the Oahu Invasive Species Committee is something that I've been working on to make sure that they have a base yard. I was a little worried that bureaucratic tape at the Pacific Cooperative Studies Unit at the University of Hawaii was just dilly-dallying. And so I've been aggressively trying to hold them accountable to say, what's the holdup? I mean, do you not read the news, right? We need everybody's kokoa, and it's not just money. We also need space for the personnel that OISC has, and they're unable to do their jobs when we don't provide, things like that. And lastly, everything's about money. You are seeing the threat at all levels of government. But for my part, I have worked at the city level to try to get a stream of funding for invasive species. I successfully did that through the transient accommodation tax. So this would be the first year that DPR is going to be allocating invasive species funding out of that fund for city parks for invasive species. I also inserted the word invasive species in the new climate change fund that we all voted on last fall. And I've encouraged the agencies to take advantage of that funding stream. Lastly, I've been in contact with the Department of Defense's Readiness and Environmental Protection Integration Program. As many of you know, they're doing a lot already, but I would like a cooperative agreement with the city to be signed so that we could have a steady stream of funding. I believe that they're not only responsible for the coconut rhinoceros beetle coming here, but they play a major role in overall coordination on invasive species management, and I like for them to step it up. And I'm working with DPR on that front. I've notified the mayor to make sure that we could have that. And so I'm trying to be innovative, given the challenges that we're facing at the state and the cutback on federal funding for other departments. And that's my report.
Mahalo, council member. Any questions from board members in person? Online? Oh. Community in person? Any questions? Yeah, just come to the mic, brother. State your name if you can.
Aloha. Nui loa kane. I come from the Apua Waihole Waikane. Home Kahalu'u is my home. Thank you for all your service. And finally, I got Kapuna and children in a place where they're safe enough to continue so I can attend these meetings. She mentioned things about chickens, anything to do with chickens. Take my number. We provide the service. We keep the peace. Part of our culture. Want to make sure that it's represented correctly and not just pushed aside like the Hawaiian people, but to keep in a sacred place and to put it in a sacred place and continue to get those natural eggs and the natural meat that we can from them, and to hear that beautiful natural crow. In the country, we appreciate those things. In the city and the modern world, they'd rather hear the siren. But that's my role here, is to come with solutions. I think that's the only thing I kind of picked up on that, and just kind of add in from there. But
Mahalo. Did you wanna give your number?
yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
808-778-6472. Yes.
Sir, thank you so much for your mana'o. And I do believe that community-based solutions is the best solution.
Aloha. Thank you.
Mahalo, Kalamai. So just to clarify, council member was just following up because we actually have a illegal fighting chicken operation occurring in the city park.
Yeah.
Not that she's against
Yeah.
chickens in general, but we got to get that situated was what she was talking about. Yeah.
We're into making sure that illegal activities
Uh-huh.
is done in a cultural event. So
Right.
working on those kind of things
Love
so
that.
it can, but
Uh-huh.
to do the illegal part, that's the part we want to step into,
Okay.
make sure that it's safe and it's not like that.
Okay.
But when people understand more about the haka and where it's from, and you raise it from a chick and you take it, you're not worried about this. It's a whole cultural thing. So if it's coming from that aspect and it comes from who we are, we take control of that. And those are the kind of things that we would go to keep the peace and make them understand that this is not tolerant in this community.
Okay. Mahalo. So we'll put you guys all in touch so we can get that taken care of. Thank you.
Atiraki.
I have a question. What was your solution? Are you one that's gonna catch the chickens or something?
I have 8 children and they love to do that part, but
Okay, no, just checking, because I remember Auntie Pat Royas used to do it, but she's, getting,
so I come from Pat and Joe.
oh, righteous.
So the slogan was, if chickens gotta go, call Pat and Joe. But so Auntie Pat and Joe, they volunteered for 2 years to catch chickens. I was the one behind the scenes making the traps and trying to make sure that we got room for all the chickens. She was really an advocate too, and she's at home. She's Kapuna. She's I take care of her, and and she's part of everything that I'm built on. So I'm here to just pick up where I can, on a positive note, to know that I hope I can make them proud. And she just loves to know that there's still Kapuna here doing their thing, and I come from those roots. So going into properties, answering the phone, she did volunteer for 2 years, and they finally got on contract, and then they got 60 cents. Somebody went underbid them, so that was funny. But we're here today to just say, hey, we're gonna cook cool or whatever way we can. We're here to provide that service also, along with a lot of others, but we'll start there.
Mahalo nui.
So what is your name again?
Uiloa Kane.
Okay. Mahalo.
Mahalo, mahalo. Uncle Don, oh, Uncle Cliff?
Okay, going back to the chickens, most of these people don't know where the chickens came from. You know, all these chickens, that was people's chicken, the fighting chickens that got wiped out doing Eva and Iniki. That's the time all the chickens, when that storm came, when wiped out all the chicken coops, and the
Yeah.
owners never did go back to catch the chicken. That's what's left over.
Chickens will do,
That's it.
chickens will do what chickens
If you
do.
look down here, you get phantom chickens running around too now. It's people's pets.
Well,
So
Hey,
these
mahalo.
chickens you can eat.
Mahalo, Uncle Cliff. We'll park that there. I appreciate you, Brad. I appreciate what your kupuna have done as well. We're gonna move on to Uncle Donald online. Quick question. Uncle Donald?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Donald Sakuma. For question for Councilmember Kayena, can you give an update on the sewer increases? Is there going to be dramatic changes with that or reduced rates?
Sure. Well, first of all, the city has to approve the proposal by the administration. That is quite significant. And I'll just update you for what the city council has most recently done. We are, the first year asked for a 9% increase, and the city council passed capped it at 4%, and use the cost savings of vacancies to the tune of about 26 million for that first year. As the years progress, the Department of Environmental Services I don't have it right in front of me, Donald, but I can make sure that I get it to you. But the bottom line is the city council is saying that there has to be other ways of stemming the automatic increases that is being proposed by the administration. And we don't know the solutions moving forward, but for this budget, again, we capped it at 4% as opposed to a 9% increase.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you. Yeah, one more question from community in person.
Yeah. Mahalo nui for that. Just two.
Can I state your name?
Tara Rojas for Esther Kia'aina. That's awesome what she said about the sewer fee increase. Just wanted to let you know it should be coming in your sewer fee bill soon. So a flyer with the insert, and then hopefully they include as well the information to get involved, because it's still in the process. So if everybody speaks up now, it's gonna be full council vote, I believe, right? And then also going back to the budget as well. But I also wanted to say, just for the invasive species, that's awesome that you are taking the initiative on that, to have the DOD, step up their role and their accountability, for finding the solutions, because the CRB is a huge, huge problem, and it has reached the other islands. So these past couple weekends on Kauai, for example, people from here have been going there to help them find the solution. So I just wanted to say, Esther Kia'aina, if you can put in the bill that you're creating, put in there that if they can tap into local community-based solutions which are non-toxic, because the current solutions that the state are doing is just to poison. And they're saying it will be just like a couple years, to not touch the coconuts, but it'll be much more than that. So there is right here in this community, like Daniel Anthony, I'm just gonna plug him just because I know that he has the natural solution inputs, and that's what they're using to their method to really prevent, catch, stop the CRB. So if you can include that as well, because I know the funding is what's needed, to move
Thank
that
you.
forward.
Thank you for
So
that
mahalo.
recommendation, and I will keep that in mind not just with regard to what the city does, but if we, for example, provide grants to nonprofit organizations or the Oahu Invasive Species Council, we will make sure that we recommend that they use that type of treatment. Thank
Yes,
you.
mahalo nui.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council Member. Appreciate your time. Moving on to Council Member Matt Wire's office. Is Kelly online? Oh, Chelsea. Oh, Chelsea in person. Aloha.
Alrighty. Aloha, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm handing out the newsletter here. I'm just gonna pull out a couple of highlights for us. So highlighting, we are in the budget process. I provided a timeline, like just an overview on page 2 of the newsletter for your reference here. Some community updates I wanted to just highlight, as many of you probably saw on your way in. Kahalu'u speed bump installation was finally finished. So the 3 were installed right along this road, Waihe'e. So we just wanted to mahalo DTS for responding to the community's request, and thank you to the community for raising that and prioritizing safety in the roads. So appreciate that. Let's see here. Just highlighting other nice community stuff Councilmember had participated in relation to the bills. One of the ones that I wanted to highlight was in relation to wheelies. I know the conversation had come up a little bit earlier here. So Bill 61, co-introduced by Radiant Cordero and Councilmember Wire, was a push to promote public safety for motorists by prohibiting wheelies on public roadways. So this just helps set a clear standard for HPD to be able to cite individuals. And so this measure was passed and also recently signed into law by Mayor just a couple of days ago on April 4th. So just highlighting that. Another one that I wanted to highlight during my time here is Reso 25-82. And so this one is putting a PIM symbol onto Coral Commercial or Coral Kingdom. And that one is to sort of flag it. We've heard that there's a great need for another EMS facility in this community. And so that's just the first step for us to make that consideration. So it did pass out of the zoning committee, which Councilmember Kia'aina is the chair of. And we do hope and anticipate it being on full council for it to move along here. Yeah, so those are just the highlights here. I also wanted to highlight, I think I have an understanding that Townscape on behalf of DES is just wanting to let the folks in this room know that they're requesting comments for a draft environmental assessment for the fuel storage tank improvements at Kahalu'u wastewater pump station. I understand that their deadline is May 1st, but just wanted to raise that flag and let folks be aware that they're accepting comments. So flagging for the room here. Thank you. That's my report. Happy to bring back questions.
Mahalo nui. Any questions for Council Member's office?
I just want to know if Gabriella is online. Yes.
Hi. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi, yes, go ahead.
Okay. Aloha, I'm Gabrielle Sham. I'm a planner with Townscape, and we've been tasked with preparing the environmental assessment. And so just to clarify, we're in the early stages of it. We haven't actually prepared the draft EA yet, but we did mail a letter to the neighborhood board on April 1st, just to notify you folks that we are starting the process. And we are just accepting, any comments that you folks have. We're reaching out to community members, other agencies and organizations to just, get your input to help shape the scope of the EA. And also it is with ENV, Department of Environmental Services.
Thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions?
Yeah, just thanks for Gabriella bringing that up, and Chelsea as well. Both council members paying attention to this particular issue. They're talking about bringing a fuel storage above ground, but of course, right next to it, there's fuel storage underground at the gas station. And I think with things like sea level rise and flooding that we've had, that we know about in that area, that's a bigger issue. And I think we should be paying really close attention to it. Look forward to Townscape maybe coming and giving a presentation. But yeah, thanks.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Antiraki?
Kalamai, I want to take a few minutes and I'm hoping that Esther is still on because I'm going to discuss an issue that happened on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. We went to Kahalu'u Beach Park and I called Council Member Matt Wire about it. Okay, we had an event, my grandson's birthday, and he belongs to Castle High's Performing Arts. So we had the performing arts students from the elementary school and their parents there. My granddaughter's car got stalled. We closed up, by 5 o'clock. Couldn't get it working. We called roadside service. Roadside service said it would not be there for another 2 hours. Now, everybody knows Kahalu'u Park closes at 7. So I told her, I'll go look for the security guard. I went right into the park. I couldn't find no security guard. I went twice looking for a security guard. As soon as I got in touch with roadside service, they told me to keep my line clear because it was my roadside service. They called me, they said they would not be there until 7:45. This is late, the park is closed. They said they were taking a car to Waikani and they would come to park right after. In the meantime, someone came right up to our car, drove right almost to her door, jumped out of the car, this big guy, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Who the effing hell you think you are? Fucking the effing car over here. And this is the time the effing pocket school, every other word was the F word. I couldn't believe it. And I'm looking at, who's this guy? I was parked in the middle. My granddaughter's car was on the side where he drove almost into her door. I got out of my car and I said, excuse me, what is your name? He said, what? You with this party too? I said, yes, I am. What is your name? He refused to give me his name. We had 3 women there in 3 different cars waiting for the roadside service and 2 children. My grandson was in my other granddaughter's car. He was so scared he got out of the car and walked towards his mother. And I told him, get back in the car. He said he thought the man was going to hit his mother. He said, I'd rather the man hit me, not my mother. I said, you should have stayed in the car. But the point is, my granddaughter said, I'm waiting for the roadside service. He said, I heard that effing excuse before. Like the effing guy that lost his effing keys this morning, still never find his effing keys, yelling at us. And I'm thinking to myself, and as he said, so you waiting? I said, yes, we're waiting for the car. So in the meantime, I wanted to call the police, but I had to keep my line clear for the roadside service. Roadside service came was like 8 o'clock. They called me, they were there. On the way out, that security guard supposedly was by the gate, and I said, thank you. He said, yeah. Is this what we want for our community? The city better think twice, and that's our park. It's a public park. You would think a security guard would be secure and protect us and not come out and attack us in that manner. Somebody said wrong person. I said, no, right person. Because I'm not going to fight back. When I went home, you know how many angry people was angry? He could have provoked a fight with other of our the male family members, get into a fight, and they would get the blame. But he was the one that provoked the fight. Think about it. And the city got to do something about who they hire for security to protect our community.
Wow.
And that's your area. Mahalo.
Appreciate that, Antiraki.
Thank you.
Kaka'ora.
Just wanted to follow up because we got the phone call. Our office followed up with Parks. I know that there was no name given, but it was pretty easy to identify if there was a report about that situation. And so they followed up with that gentleman. There was disciplinary action taken and he's no longer going to be scheduled. We were told that maybe Parks gave you a call back, Antiraki, so I apologize for the delay with the update, but that was taken care of by our office. So I appreciate you raising that. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
I worked in public relations for over 50 years. That's the kind of people you don't want working with the community.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Antiraki, and thank you to a council member in your guys' office for your hard work. Any other questions, concerns for Council Member Matt Wire's office? Community in person, community online. Seeing none, mahalo nui, Chelsea. Thank you. Moving on to Board of Water Supply. Do we have Barry online? Hey, Barry.
Hello,
How's it,
everybody.
brother?
Let's see, I have a couple of things to report this month. We had a main break on Kamehameha Highway, March 2nd, just past Pueblo. It was a 12-inch main, 1961 installed. In terms of rainfall, we have having a very dry winter. We usually rely on a wet winter to recharge our aquifers for the summer months. Our rainfalls for March was 44%. Over the winter was like 72% of normal. So something of concerning to us. And just reporting that our contacts at the National Weather Service, they've been there for a long time, but he's retiring early. Our head modeler contact at U.S. Geological Service, he's retiring. And our contact from NOAA that manages rainfall data is also retiring. So there's a lot of good public servants from the federal government that are no longer there, largely, I think, because of the federal budget cuts. But anyway, on a lighter note, we have two general announcements. Detective Leak Week is coming up. So Sunday, it's our annual campaign. So Sunday, April 13th through Saturday, April 19th. Can join the Board of Water Supply and Harbor Hawaii at two special events. They're actually on the leeward side, but at Pro Ridge on Saturday, April 13th, 11:30 to 1:30 at the shopping center there. That's the kickoff event. The closing event is going to be on Friday, April 19th at Kahalu'u Mall, Center Court, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you can stop by for a hands-on leak detection tips, toilet leak detection, dye tablets donated by the City Mill, interactive activities, and some giveaways. But the point is being to raise awareness around fixing leaks, making every drop count. And by the way, our field crews find about 50 leaks a month. They've been our leak detection team. They're primarily at your water meters, the couplings that to the water meters. So they tighten those up. And then the last announcement is that the city launches the HNL alert for emergency notifications. It's a new mass notification system that provides residents and visitors information about severe weather, emergencies, and other situations affecting city services via text, push notifications, or email. The alert replaces the city's current HNL.info notification system. So I guess it's an upgrade. There's a couple of ways to sign up. Customized alerts or urgent alerts only. Go to honolulu.gov/DEM or Department of Emergency Management. And that's my report. Available for any questions.
Mahalo, Barry. Any questions in person from board members online? Seeing none. Community members in person, online. Donald, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board of Supply. Just got a question, Donald Sakamoto. How's our water content? How often do you test the water for any chemicals or whatever? Is it pretty safe right now?
Yeah, we test it regularly. So we do a full test every year. We test for like chemical constituents every month, like chlorides and other chemical. And then we also been testing for PFAS. If you have heard of that, perfluoroalkyl substances, I think we're finding that mostly in the leeward sources there, Pearl City, Waipao, Kunia, those areas, we test for those every week. So when we do, it's sort of as in a tier. We do the comprehensive annually, the operational monthly, but when we start picking up constituents that we of concern, what we call emerging contaminants, we testing for that weekly, and that drives treatment systems that we are doing at some of our sources there. But if it should exceed any of the what's called the maximum contaminant levels, those sources are shut off. We coordinate with the Department of Health Safe Drinking Water Branch, and through notifications and coordination as well. But we won't put it in our system unless it's safe. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the update. Thank you.
Mahalo, Donald. Thanks, Barry. Appreciate your time, brother.
Yep.
Moving on to Governor Josh Green's office, we've got Deputy Director Katie Lambert online.
Aloha, everyone.
Hey, Deputy. how's it?
I am here to share the governor's message from his newsletter. I apologize for not being in person. So the governor's message is, as we move forward into April, our administration continues to actively work on initiatives aimed at improving the health and well-being of our communities. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands has recently begun awarding hundreds of leases, which is an important step toward fulfilling our commitment to the Native Hawaiian community. The Department of Accounting and General Services is actively seeking qualified candidates for building construction inspector positions, presenting valuable career opportunities and including some who may have been affected by federal government cuts. First Lady Jamie Kanani Green hosted an insightful International Women's Day panel, highlighting our dedication to celebrating and empowering women. Furthermore, the Hawaii Society of Professional Engineers Maui chapter awarded the Department of Human Services Kala'i'ola Project the Project of the Year award, acknowledging its significant contributions to the community and commitment to addressing housing needs. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke and I have been working together on a few initiatives that will enhance government efficiency through technology. And finally, for the third year, we both are working to help the Hawaii Food Bank with its annual food drive. These initiatives embody our dedication to creating a brighter and more inclusive future for all residents of Hawaii. As far as follow-ups, I am working on getting a response from the Department of Agriculture. I know that invasive species is something that's really important to this community, and there was a request to ask for, a response with regard to the Department of Agriculture's accountability in that respect, especially for an infestation, if I'm remembering correctly, that is occurring in Hau'ula. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I am still working on trying to get a response on that. I apologize for not having a report, but I'll continue working on it. Otherwise, if there's any other matters or questions I can take back, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, Vice Chair.
Mahalo, Deputy. So I believe Department of Ag had allocated $25,000 grants at one point in time to community organizations that were helping us, such as Daniel Anthony's organization and others related. Since they are working on the budget as current right now in the House and in the Senate, if we could ask Gov's office to prompt to get some of that funding for LFA, CRB, all the invasives that we continuously battle in our community, and allocate some of those things for grant fundings for non-pesticide treatments. We would greatly appreciate it. And you are correct. Yes, we have a large infestation in Hau'ula and some new ones that popped up as well that we will discuss moving forward here tonight.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Just a short question. I've been asked, and I wanted to know if state has paid its COVID back payments to essential workers. In other words, people who work during COVID, just regular civil service state employees, have yet to be paid the money that they were supposed to be paid for hazard pay for having worked during COVID. So two-part question. Hazard pay budget, And number two, when will you be paying that?
Uncle Dan. Ati Rocky?
Yeah, I have a question for both the governor's office and the lieutenant governor's office. The question is, why are they distributing permits for people from out of state to run our state parks who does not even vote in the state of Hawaii, who does not even vote for our governor, nor for our lieutenant governor, but yet they're gravy trained and giving all the perks that us, the community, fought for. We tried to put in a proposal, but we were told with the proposal we were going to put in, and we're from the Heia Hapua'a, that we have to come and do all of the maintenance of the park. But yet, the state of Hawaii, the Department of Land and Natural Resources, gives out a permit to an out-of-state, actually a resident of the state of Virginia, to run the permits on the State Park, get all the perks, get all of the party funds that's going to the park, and shuns our community. I find it an insult to us.
Mahalo. I'm mahalo for that. Just for the record, though, the entity that is now currently having the short-term lease to run the park, they are registered with DCCA in the state of Hawaii. So they are a registered nonprofit in this state. So they are authorized to operate in the state. But you are correct when you do look it up. They do have a Virginia base. Right. So
Point is, they just put it in to get that status.
Yeah.
Point is, they never voted in our state before.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
agree with you that. Moving on to board members online, we have Keone.
Yeah, so my concern I'm bringing up is also for Haiti State Park. So I don't know who's in charge of the DLNR area, that area, but last week Wednesday, our children were having their running practice in Haiti State Park. The reason for this is because the sidewalk that we've constantly been bringing up in multiple meetings now has not been addressed. So the kids that paddle for Kaneohe Canoe Club cannot run on the sidewalk. So they were using Haiti State Park. But last week, Wednesday, they were kicked out of the park by a DLNR officer, stating that they were not allowed to come up there and practice in safety. On top of that, I was made aware when this was brought to me by a constituent, I was also made aware that there was a document that was filed that was falsified, stating that Kaneohe Canoe Club wanted to forfeit the use of that area that they were previously using over the last season or so that I can recall. I don't understand how that was even possible. Like their running practice lasts 1 hour. It's a bunch of children. It's a bunch of children running. And DLNR officer came in and kicked them out, stating that they were not allowed to. Like, we're taxpayers. We pay for these things. Like Auntie Rocky said, we're voters. And I feel like that was very, very outrageous that our taxpayer money is being spent on sending somebody out there to kick out a bunch of kids that are just trying to train. They're trying to be outside. They're trying to be active.
Okay,
So
we'll get
answers to that. That's
we'll
all.
get deputy. Yeah, we'll get deputy to try and follow up on that.
Yeah.
Vice Chair, you wanted to say something?
Kalam, I also had a report from a constituent, I'm trying to find the exact date, that on several occasions, the gate was locked to Ulumau, Nahea State Park, during regular operating hours. I can look up the date and send it to you to be more thorough, but that shouldn't be happening as well, especially with this Virginia-based steward. If they're not going to upkeep their contract, then I don't see why they should keep it in general.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
I was in a meeting with state parks there and they said on Mondays they're having issues with having their staff come out there and open the gate. So if those are Mondays, that might be an explanation for that. And they're working on it. But I
Our
also
issue was on a Wednesday.
have a question for Gov's office.
Yeah, go.
Sorry. Can we ask Gov if he can look into some activity that occurred by some SHIP-D staff members taking the EV from the warehouse that belonged to SHIP-D and illegally reinterring them somewhere. Apparently, it's under investigation, and AG's office is aware. But we, as the public, would like to know what governor is going to do about that. Thank you.
Kahalu'u.
Mahalo. Okay, at this point, Katie, can you do me a favor? If you can just take note and if we can have either Chair Chang come in person or Kia Calpito from SHIP-D come in person or Kirk Cottrell come in person from State Parks. Yeah, too much issues going on with DLNR in this community and too much meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And now it's next time of elections. It'd be great if one of those folks could come over and just address some of the issues going on. Mahalo nui. Auntie Christie, you had a question in the community? Yeah.
I do. I'm wearing my community hat. I want to reiterate the issues with Hagia. I witnessed at 7:15 in the morning, somebody coming out from the park. Gate was locked and their truck was inside and they were coming out. So whatever the occurrence and the maintenance of opening and closing the gate, it's obviously not on a regular basis. And in addition, most state parks never close at 5 p.m. when we're all getting off of work. So most parks, city, county, and state close at a sunset time. And open at sunrise. So just the hours which should be adjusted. Thank you.
Mahalo nui, support that as well. Uncle Donald, do you had a question online?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Donald Sakamoto for the record. I met Governor Green 3 years ago at the Pacific Club for a bus expo by Soto Home Sales. And Governor did a speech and he said he was going to buy electric buses for the schools. And I want to know if the governor is still going to do that because diesel is not too good for our children to inhale, and diesel costs more money. So can you find out if that plan is still going forward for the state of Hawaii to buy electric buses for school kids?
Mahalo, Uncle Donald. One more community in person?
Yeah. Aloha, Tara Rojas. I just wanted to say what we're hearing now is just really facts of how they find the loopholes to find, the way in if it's a not even from here, doing the LLCs. But my main concern is this. If this is concerning for you that they do not have the jurisdiction because it's the governor's report right now, you need to speak up now because it's, I believe, going to conference at this point, HB 511. So Kanaka, if this, concerns you, that it's, I hear the issues with the EV, that HB 511 public lands, it states in there that allows the governor to transfer lands from DLNR, which I'm hearing there's a lot of issues, from DLNR to DOA. DOA is in charge of the invasive species that they let, get out of control. So this is an issue that keeps happening, and this is literally right now HB 511. And so it even goes back and includes lands from the governor of the territory of Hawaii, which is 1893 from the legal overthrow. So HB 511 should be on your radar, and you should be speaking up now. So if you can pass that to, to who you need to. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky.
Can I say something to that effect? Because we've been working on it for over 10 years. And of course, we're not that low. But that is where the mistrust comes for the state of Hawaii. Put it in any other one of the state offices, like the Department of Land and Natural Resources, like the DOE, that we have already investigated. It's not going to work. You can come and meet with us, because we met with so many people throughout this last decade. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Any other questions from community in person? Brother, just take the mic. Mahalo.
This was just for, I guess, coach for the canoe paddling. As a former coach and training young children in the parks, it was very difficult to get permits to constantly move around to where spaces was available, and then they start overlapping with other events. So you have private club, you have school, everybody's trying to get in on the park. So I found out through our walk of life, we kind of just played ball. illegally, I guess, technically, because we didn't have a permit. So based on that, we had to get our liability put together, and then we had to submit to the city so that we can get into the application. And then to do that, it take like 2 years. So the children get left pushed to the curb. So to expedite all of that, the community has to have a system where just in our Apua'a, we can at least, whether it's for insurance purposes or whatever, we got to have that liability in place so that there is space for the team to go practice. So we used to literally let them in at our house to come up Waihole Valley, come lift weights and do all that, but we learn about the liability. So that's what we have to kind of kick into place so that the kids have a place to go train. And if they don't have a place to train, then they're off doing, other things. So I don't know what's in place here, but that's kind of something that we got to do as a community here to provide so that a coach out there comes here and he doesn't have to stand in a long line for 2 years. I took young athletes from small all the way and we took nationals. So our little guys here, when you put the time into them, they got action. But if they can't train, then they cannot compete. So our job here as elders, we have to step up and provide that service for him so that he doesn't I don't feel that he shouldn't be in the line at the door knocking for 2 years for a permit or fix something. So that's something here we can kind of expedite so that the liability falls here and then he can provide the liability that he has. But it's an ongoing thing.
Appreciate it. Mahalo. Quick ones, you guys. Yeah, we just gotta
As a co-founder of the Hi'ia State Park, worked years in making it to a state park. John was a part of the committees for years, and also a paddler of over 40 years. It's just too much. People are just coming exploiting. It's too much exploitation, and the state is letting to get away with it. It all has to do with money. You're either going to do for the money or you're going to be for the people. So that boils down to. Mahalo.
Last one, Uncle Cliff. Quick one.
Yeah, so now the kids cannot even use their own park. So now, where do you gotta practice? On Cam Highway? Practice on Cam Highway with a sidewalk not even passed. It's unfit to walk on. So I don't know where the kids gonna practice. Because the city don't maintain their sidewalks too. So you can't even walk from the state park to the long bridge. Cannot, without getting whacked on the butt.
Appreciate it. Okay. All further questions, we can just go ahead and further push over to Katie. Appreciate everyone's concerns, but we're gonna let Katie go. You okay? Okay. Mahalo. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate your time. Okay. Moving on, we're gonna go on to Senator Brenton Owa's office. We got Makana online.
Hello, Mike Kako. A couple updates for you folks. SB 1582, bill to recognize the coconut tree as a food source is one step away from the governor's desk before it gets signed into law. So that's exciting. On that, other than elevating its importance and adding, for more funding, possibilities of more funding, another thing we want to note is we don't believe in treating the coconut trees with chemicals as currently allowed. So hoping that this designation will put a stop to that. On another positive note as well, we got our first 2 ulus that are fruiting right now at the food tree project. And also a couple bananas almost ready for harvest as well. So awesome to see. And then we are aware of little fire ant infestation near the food tree project as well. I believe closer to Huimanu Road. So Senator Awa did reach out to Ed Sniffen as they do not have a current LFA plan or plan of action as far as being on DOT property. So we'll try to follow up on that and see if we can implement best practice moving forward for management practices and prevention. That's all we got right now. Up for questions. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Makana. Any questions for Senator Owa's office? Anyone online? Donald, go ahead. Donald, you're still muted. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Senator Awa's representative, Donald Salcom for the record. You know, the neighbor board is a fantastic place to bring up things, but we had an Office of Information Practices slap the board, neighbor board commission office on what we can talk about board members. What happened to the bill that was going to the legislature to exempt or to modify the neighbor board so they can have board members express their concerns?
I'm not too sure the number of that bill, but I can go follow up on that and get the information to you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I worry about, I'm on the Kaneohe neighbor board, but I really enjoy our neighbor boards because board members who run for office, they like to express their concerns for their community, and by not being able to do it, if it's not on the agenda or subject matter discussed, is unjust, I think.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Transparency is our number one goal. So yeah, I'll try to follow up on that.
Kudos. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo, Donald. You okay? No. Makana, if you could just do one more thing too. If you could just echo the request to get someone from DLNR out to one of these meetings, either Chair Chang, Deputy Director, Kirk Cottrell, Kyoko Pito, if we can, or Jessica Puff, if she wants to come too, that's fine.
Sounds good. We'll make it happen.
Mahalo, thank you.
Aloha.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We have Rep. Lisa Kitagawa's office. She's not gonna be here tonight. They are working on the budget bill as CIP chair, so she's prepping with her team tonight. Any questions or concerns, you can just go ahead and push that over to me, and I'll be sure to get that over to her office. We're gonna move on to Winmer Community College. We have Chancellor Artis Eschenberg. Is she online? Yay! Hi, how's it, Artis?
I just wanted to share on Friday, we have Senior Bash on campus. We will have approximately 350 high school seniors all on our campus. We'll do applications, registrations, new student orientations, college going information, degree program information, and we're going to end it with a big reggae concert. It's going to be super fun. If you're in the neighborhood, that's what all the noise is. And we'll also use it to promote our Ho'ole Scholarship, which is happening again this year. So all of the graduating seniors from Windward Public and Public Charter Schools are eligible. If financial aid, the FAFSA, doesn't cover your tuition fully, Windward will cover your tuition. So it's a tuition guarantee at Windward for next year. So that's all my news for tonight. Oh, and our play is starting. We're having our student play. I'll put that in the chat. It's coming up. Much Ado About Nothing. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Any questions or concerns for Chancellor? Auntie Rocky?
Yeah, artists, you might remind everybody that our Kolapuka Hawaiian Civic Club, our scholarship deadline, I think is April 15th. Am I correct?
That is correct. It is April 15th, coming right up.
Open
Right
for
on.
our community. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky.
Mahalo.
Any other questions from board members in person? Board members online? Community? Okay. I have a question, Chancellor. We have I got word that the Kalaila'au class, which is in Hale'iolani, is going to be moving to what is being built currently at the end of the road when you turn right coming up into the college. And so basically everything that was grown, all the materials, all the wood would then need to be moved. And then the kumu of that class, Jordan Souza, is going to be leaving the college as well in May and going over to KS. I'm just curious as to what the plans are for the class and the continuity of that. If you folks are doing any kind of recruiting efforts for other kumu, and then if you guys are expecting to continue the program.
We are. We built that facility specifically for wood carving. So they're getting moved into a facility that is actually, it'll have appropriate HVAC dust removal. It's going to have appropriate spacing between the different stations and different machines. It has an outdoor area that's attached to it, adjacent, and as well as a covered outdoor area for wood storage. So there's a lot of thought that was put into that. It's difficult to source a wood carving or other kinds of loud noise involved facilities on a college campus, like your English class doesn't, or your speech class doesn't necessarily want chainsaws going right next to their building. So that's why it's in that place that it is on campus. But this facility was designed with Jordan Souza, who is the kumu moving to KS, and our permanent funded faculty member, Mickey Cook, I believe, will be directing our Kahalu'u in the near future. And while we're at it, I would love to add that we have one Hawaiian Studies position, which is currently nearing hiring. It's already been, the recruitment's closed and it's in the interview process. And we just opened up another Hawaiian Studies position. If you know anyone who's interested, it's a year-round position. It's responsible not only for Hawaiian Studies, but specifically programming related to ahupua'a and outdoor learning labs. So we're really growing our Hawaiian Studies. When I first came 15 years ago, we had 2 faculty, and this will be 5 now. So we've more than doubled the capacity. Hawaiian Studies is Hawaiian Studies is amazing. They're the foundation of everything we do. They're in our early college program in the high schools. They work with our immersion schools, and they're also heavily involved in our incarcerated efforts, including Mickey Cook, the kumu for that, is teaching the first Hawaiian Studies class, the first class ever taught not by correspondence at the Saguaro Correctional Facility in Arizona, where we have over 900 men in prison.
Right on.
I can't think of a better word for it. Mahalo.
Awesome. Good to hear. Mahalo for the report.
Oh, and I
Mila?
believe one more thing related to what was talked about. Carla Silva reached out to me about the canoe club needing a place for the children, students, youth, OPO, to exercise while they were trying to get the permit. So we're working on giving them a month at the college where they can do running around the campus and then work out on the Great Lawn just as a stopgap measure.
Mahalo nui. Keone?
Right on, artist. Thank you. We were up there today training the kids.
Yes, awesome.
I
It's
knew
so
you
great
had
to
something
have
to
them
do
on the
with it.
campus.
Like, thank you so much for stepping up. Like, because that's the bottom line. We need a safe space for these kids. They can't run on the road because the sidewalk's unusable and can't go at the park. But thank you so much for allowing us to be there. Like, it meant a lot to us.
Thank you, Keone. And we sit on ceded lands, and we know that the Queen loved our keiki and our opio, so it's our kuleana to do such things.
Right on. You're awesome.
You guys too. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thanks, Chancellor. Appreciate it. Have a great night. We're gonna move on to the Kahalu'u Bay Regional Council. I know last meeting I wasn't I was kind of intermittent online. But I know that we did get Keone elected, right, as our to be rep. But Uncle Cliff, is there anything that you wanted to report? Auntie Rocky, anything from the council?
I do know that this Friday, which I can't be there because I have a dentist appointment, that they're going to be go before the full Senate would be Frederick Poon, Cedric Winchester, Berterman, somebody else, or Nico Kalohipa, I think.
Yeah.
And we're going to support, so that they already got okay for the Senate, but full support will be this Friday if anybody wants to go.
Okay. Mahalo. I think okay, shoot. And then I'm still working on my work capacity, filling that seat as well. Yeah. Keone?
Well, I just want to give one update. I did submit the application and the necessary documents for that nomination that I was given in our last meeting. I haven't gotten word back yet, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I did take care of that. So I'm just waiting to hear word back from the board commission.
Mahalo nui, Auntie Rocky?
I did call the governor's office and I talked to the board commission. They said they can go be on it temporary, not they can be on it, but they would have to come before the Kahalu'u Bay Regional Council and take an oath.
Yeah. Okay.
That would probably the Office of Hawaiian Affairs also.
As interim seats. Okay. But while they wait. Okay. Keone, when you get your date, just if you could send that to Rachel, and then Rachel can push that to the board so that we could just support.
The date on what was that?
If you do hear back on your paperwork, when you do get a date to go over to the legislature.
Okay.
Yeah, just let us know so that we can submit testimony and support.
Okay, righteous. Thank you. Yeah, I've been communicating with Rachel. She helped me. She gave me some information that I needed, so I will continue to do so. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to Rep. Takuta's office. I don't think we have anyone online from Rep. Takuta's this month. Okay, we'll move on No one in person. Okay, no one in person. So yeah, we have Auntie Christy from Kahalu'u Marine Corps Base.
Hi, good evening, board, neighborhood, community members. Christy Kahalu'u, Marine Corps Base, Hawaii, putting on that hat. I have a couple of things I'd like to just share that are some outreaches that have occurred this month and some future outreaches. But our main focus for this evening is our team that from the environmental and from the contracting company. They'll be sharing while I tell you guys what's been going on. So we've been hosting several ROTC groups from the mainland to come and visit the installation and participate in different training activities. So it has been a blessing for these students as they begin to look for their future. They're being able to have hands-on activities as well as conversations. Two upcoming events for this year that are open base. The community is welcome to come and be a spectator for two open base activities. The first one is going to be the canoe regatta. That usually has about 3,000 people, but the base is open. You can just come on, and if you paddle, participate. And if your family member is a paddler, be a spectator. And then, of course, the Blue Angels, the air show. Thank you. Thank you very much. The air show will be August 8th, 9th, and 10th. Oh, regatta is July 13th. So those things going on. And the most important thing tonight is we want to share with you the EA for the water reclamation. We have with us this evening our subject matter experts who will go in a little bit more in depth because I know we're all really excited about this. Let me introduce Jessica and Patrick. Jessica is from the contracting company who put together and did the EA, and Patrick is our senior environmental engineer.
Hello, my name is Jessica Hawkins. I'm with Stantec GS. I'm a biologist there. As Christy mentioned, our company helps support the Marine Corps base with their EA, their environmental assessment for the wastewater reclamation facility EA. I brought a copy. I wanted to let everybody know it's available on the Marine Corps base website, as well as the state library, the Kailua library, and the Kaneohe library. And then you can download a digital copy on the Marine Corps base website as well. And we brought some handouts. So there's a 2-page handout and a 1-page quick fact sheet if you'd like to know some information. Also, we'll be here after the meeting as well if you want to take a fun flip through the EA or ask any detailed questions about it. Right now, we're in the public scoping comment period. It's 30 days and it began yesterday and ends on May 8th. We're in April right now. And we are accepting comments through the Marine Corps base webpage, as well as via email and handwritten comments as well. We would love your feedback. The Marine Corps highly encourages public participation. That is why we're here tonight, to answer any questions. And that's what makes a good environmental assessment, is public engagement. So please feel free to ask us any questions. As Christy mentioned, I'm a biologist, so I participate in the biology section, and Patrick is all things knowing about wastewater treatment facilities. So yeah, he'll come up next and talk about the proposed action, which is to upgrade the facility. Yay.
How's it? So my name is Patrick Cryle. I'm the lead environmental engineer for the base. And I mean, just the quick summary of what this project is, you know, the plant as it is now was built in 1940, upgraded in 1970, and since then it's only been minor modifications and improvements. So this is like almost a complete overhaul. The system that's there now will stay. And we'll build what we call a separate train, a treatment train. So it's a separate way to process, and it'll give the facility, the main thing that we're going for is redundancy. So we can take one system offline, do repairs, do maintenance, while still being able to treat all the wastewater that's flowing through. It's not a change in the amount of wastewater that's being treated. On average, it's about 2 million gallons per day. But we'll also be able to, this new system will be able to treat higher flash, like flash rain. We get a lot of infiltration when it rains, a lot of water gets into the system, and all of a sudden we're pushing through 5 million gallons, in a couple hour period. So this new system will be able to handle those surges and allow us to treat without having to spill or hold back water to spray to keep everything in line. And then also the other big component of this, that probably a lot of people are interested in, is it will build what's called a R1 recycled water facility. So the Marine Corps base has the golf course that currently is using potable water to water the lawns. Historically, we used R2 water, which is like a partially treated wastewater, not safe to drink, but it's safe for irrigation. That system is offline, but this new project, part of the EA, will build an R1 system. It's the highest level of treated water. It's still not potable, but it gives us a lot more flexibility on how we use it throughout the base. So that will reduce our potable demand and also reduce the amount of water that we send out the outfall. But that's the quick gist of it. Happy to answer any specific questions, get into any details. Yeah.
Uncle Dan, go ahead.
My question was, secondary sewage treatment, is that as clean as the city is providing? I know that primary sewage treatment is basically just putting sewage out into the bay. And our concern is really, I'm not a golfer, but I'm really concerned about the fish in the bay.
Right. So yeah, there's primary treatment is just basic kind of treatment. Secondary treatment is kind of the standard. And why we are currently a secondary treatment system, that's a biological. That's what brings down the enterococcus that you hear about when it's exceeding in the bay. This new facility will be a tertiary treatment system. So it goes through that primary, secondary, and then it hits tertiary. And that's basically where we're proposing to use chlorination to cause disinfection on all the stuff. And in doing so, it'll bring our bacteria levels down, orders of magnitude.
So second.
That's the current system.
Mahalo. Jesse?
Mahalo for all your good work. This is something that this board has been pushing for 4 years at this point. I have a seemingly unrelated question, but since you are the expert and working with DOH on this project, this is not related to MCBH, but to our community in Kahalu'u specifically. There was a Rotary Club presentation on sea level rise and what's happening with our public utility. And one of the board members who can't be here right now because he's in Japan, he wants to know what the implications are for our septic systems here in this specific rural district, and the need to treat individual systems aerobically with UV light treatment so that the wastewater becomes like runoff water quality wise. I don't know if you guys have these types of discussions or if you could give us some kind of.
So from the marine perspective, we don't have cesspools on base. It's not an issue that we're facing, but just from a wastewater perspective, yeah. The state had a big initiative. They identified all the cesspools throughout the state. They ranked the site, basically all cesspools have to be removed. And then they ranked the sites, I think they call them tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 are most susceptible to sea level rise. The higher sea level rise, the higher inundation, and the more likely that contaminants are going to get out. So those are the ones that are supposed to be replaced first, then tier 2, then tier 3.
So I guess when you meet with DOH, I'm sure you do, and discussing wastewater treatment, if you could slide that in for us, we would greatly appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Mahalo nui. Any other questions, concerns? Auntie Rocky?
I want to thank them because I've been trying to work on it too, because they've been using water from here, our stream waters, and by doing this, we're going to get a lot of our water back into our lo'i. And I commend them on that, and I support them on that. I've been trying to get them to do reusable water for the longest time, but the Department of Health wouldn't allow it, but now they're finally allowing it. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Hello, Mike. Can you confirm for us that we will be saving roughly 11 million gallons of potable water after this?
It's about 1 million gallons a day.
Yeah, 11 million per month. Sorry, did I miss that part? That was the figure that we had in 2023 that the Clipper was using specifically.
That's a good question. I believe, yeah, so the Clipper has a restricted use amount. Don't know that offhand, what they're allowed to use currently. But ultimately, they want about 1 million gallons a day during the summer.
We love that.
So that,
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo. Uncle John?
So this is basically treating all of the sewage from the base.
correct.
Other sewage comes towards the base, goes on through the Okapu outfall, correct?
Yes, so the city and county treatment plant in Kailua.
The one in Aikai.
Yeah, we, our treatment plant, we have a pipeline that runs to their treatment plant. They don't do any treatment for us or anything, but those two, their treated effluent and our treated effluent come together into a mixing box, and then the city and county pumps it out through that joint outfall into Kailua Bay.
So this redundant system will stay there permanently.
Correct, yeah.
Will it allow for handling more of the sewage that comes from the Kaneohe Bay area?
No, this will only treat what's on our base. Yeah, so it's all gravity fed from our base to the outfall. So there's no pipeline that would bring sewage in. We don't treat.
So I'm just going to ask kind of a general question. What's the interface between MCBH and the rest of Kaneohe Bay? And I asked that with purpose because there's so much housing around Kaneohe Bay. It's housing military personnel. So it would be good for that Liana to be taken on by that base as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you look at if you dive into the EA, right? So we talked about it's going to build this R1 treatment facility, and it'll satisfy all of the golf course's needs, but it'll also be able to store up to 1.5 million gallons of R1 quality water. So that's more than we have a use for at this point. So first thing after we get it up and running and built and operational, at the same time, we're going to be looking at where else can we use this off base, or use it on base, like can we use it to water lawns in different spots? And then, we've had conversations with the city and county and the state. Like, is there a desire for R1 somewhere else? The city doesn't produce R1, but if you look at some of the other treatment plants throughout the state, they do is that something that we could look at in the future?
Awesome. Mahalo. Good questions. Barry, online? I like hear this one. Barry, what you get, Barry?
Hi. And I just wanted to thank the County Marine Base for following up on the R1 project. It is something that the community did ask for a number of years. There's a lot of the Waihe tunnel water is used on base, and the base has brought their water demand down to about 2 million a day, which is what our contract is. And if they convert and get the golf course back on R1 and expand it to other grass areas, we can bring that demand down, and that's good for Waihe and Windward Water Resources, for also the water security of the base. So I want to extend my thanks to, is it Colonel Bevan still there?
Sir, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the folks and the congressional delegation for providing the funding of this MILCON funding for this important project. It's going to benefit the entire Windward Resources. So thank you very much.
Sure, and I'll just add, this project, right? So we talked about building a whole new treatment plant and also being able to produce R1. This structural project will take years to complete before it's operational. So it's at the same time we're doing this, we're looking at trying to find a way to work with DOH to turn R2 back on. We have our R2 treatment system. The state doesn't approve of it yet. There's, it's a limited resources how we can dedicate, but we are doing upgrades to our existing system, separate from this EA to try and restore R2 as an interim measure before we can upgrade to R1.
Yeah, we tried to talk with DOH about the contact time from the plant to the golf course in the pipeline, but they changed the rules. So I think you guys need a larger contact tank at the treatment plant, but we tried. So,
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we can go into it a bunch more, but there are contact tanks at the base because we used to do disinfection decades ago. So we're looking at how can we refurbish those to meet DOH standards without impacting the footprint of this much larger project that's, serves a much bigger need.
Mahalo. You had a question? Atiraki, go ahead.
I just want to thank, thanks to Jill Tukuda, our congresswoman that helped to get the funding, the federal funding to help with this water issue with the military and the water supply. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui.
And our community.
Yeah, thank you. Quick question. Is there other places on base other than the Kipler Golf Course that use potable water for irrigation?
There is like not at a significant level. I don't know offhand how much water we use for irrigation, but
Okay. So then do you know how much water will be saved once this new system is up in place, or how much potable water will be saved?
as proposed by the EA, it's up to 1 million gallons per day.
Up
And
to-
then follow-on actions, we'll be looking at how else can we use this water.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions? We'll go Ian.
Thank you, Chair. Really quick, glad it's a system that will now handle the flash, the 5 times the flash coming down the mountain or coming down through the system. When that gets to the Aikahi plant system and goes out into the bay, is the public side of that ready to handle the 5 times the flash kind of thing? Just wanted to ask that question.
Not to speak for the city, but so, the city installed the underground pipeline connecting, Kaneohe to Akahi. And so that's like how they're approaching storage, right? So they fill that pipeline up with storage and hopefully the rain stops. Now they can slowly treat through the processes. And that's how they use to hold back water. We have a pond and we're proposing basically another, manufactured pond to handle this.
Thank you very much for explaining. That helps. Appreciate you.
Donald?
Good job on the R1.
Okay.
Chair,
We're gonna go. No, so sorry. We're gonna go community. We're gonna go Donald first, and then we get Brett over here right behind, and then he'll just have to take the mic, just swap the mic.
Okay. Chair, Donald Sakamura, I just want to know, announce that at the Windward Mall, we're going to have a committee emergency response team a forum for emergency preparedness on May 3rd. So I want to outreach to you folks if you're interested. I belong to CERT. If you folks want to participate, I have a table. Kaneohe Neighbor Board 30 will be there to participate.
Okay.
They'll have their own table. So if you're willing to come, let me know.
Thanks, Donald. Mahalo nui, brother. Go ahead. Community person.
Question for Marine Base. I was just looking through here, trying to see if I can see any, is there any recent testing of what's going on in the bay right now? And what are you predicting on the cleanup? Because it's all like out there is wasted. This population is major in this bay. Being that we come out of Waihole and we're trying to clean the streams to put the Aqua system back to put more water in. I'm just trying to see if you have an updated test or a plan that if you're trying to put more of this R2 water wherever it's going, as it ends back in our bay, what is the ratio so that we can continue to see our fish grow and not, lately I'm crabbing out there and a lot of the crabs itself is like cesspool. So that's telling me that a lot of the washouts from this whole bay continuing the base something's happening out there. So I don't eat crab anymore. So that's just something I like. Do you provide sheets or can we get more involved so that the Aqua system from our point of view and yours can come together so that we can get back to its natural cleaning because we're overpopulated. Yeah.
Mahalo.
So all of our testing is dictated by a permit. It's state issued. It's called a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit, NPDS permit. Talks about that in the EA, but that's regulated through the Department of Health. And so we do regular testing on our effluent before we send it out to Kailua Bay. So we don't have any discharges directly to Kaneohe Bay, if that's what you're specifically asking. But for Kailua Bay, there is testing along the shoreline. It's actually a joint, it's the sampling is performed by the city and county through an agreement with us. And so we tag along with their system. The city actually has a pretty good website that they started, I think, a few months ago that has regular beach quality or, near shore water quality testing that you can go on and see when it was, on a weekly basis. We submit on an annual basis. We compile all that data, submit it to the state, and just generally speaking, the water quality when it's measured near the outfall, mile offshore, is we're not seeing high levels of bacteria there. You're seeing high levels of bacteria along the shoreline, and that's usually from the rain events and the groundwater coming out. Is the generally the bigger contributor to water quality advisories that go out from the state.
Mahalo. We'll do one last question, Auntie Rocky.
I have some information for Brother Connie over there. Maybe he should come. Really interesting to get educated. Go to the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council meeting because these are the issues they discuss. The Kaneohe Bay Regional Council.
Yep.
Mahalo, and it's virtually hybrid for everybody.
Yep. Jesse?
Hi, Auntie Christie, I'm not trying to cut you off. Was that it for the MCBH report, or did you have other things unrelated to the wastewater to report? Because I have some constituent complaints that I need to ask about. Do you have other stuff for this? But do you have anything after wastewater?
And that's the, on April 17th, Uncle John, I think you're invited to the IRR. It's the final, the one. So this is the installation resiliency review. It discusses climate control, climate change, and this was in partnership with the city and county and the University of Hawaii, but this is their final report. Those individuals, each neighborhood board members will be in attendance, as well as other key leaders. Well, John will give a report. That's April 17th. That's it.
Okay, sorry, Auntie Christie. I have 6 community constituent complaints from this past Monday at 1:28 p.m. and following about loud booms. I'm not sure if that's MCBH related or some other Schofield or whatnot, but they're similar to the booms that I reported from the same constituents in the evening. Do you know anything about that? If not, can you follow up?
This Monday, you said at
Correct.
1:28?
Yes.
I can check the training to see if it was training.
Okay.
And I can get back with you.
Thank you very much.
Mahalo. Any other questions for the engineer? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a
Over there.
quick question for you. The the drone flying over on Thursday, is that the time? Do they mainly fly drones on Thursday? Could you find that out for us? The unmanned vehicles that, the big ones, because they're going over residential areas. And I was wondering if you would be willing to find out if that could be discontinued.
Well, I can see if there's UAS flying on Thursdays, you said. I can double check to see if that's training that's coming from here. And I'll get back with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Auntie Christie. Okay, any other questions for our team from Cunning Marine Corps Base? Yeah.
Real quick.
Jessica, you one more thing, yeah. Sorry, Ian. Ian, yeah, go ahead.
To
Before
respond
she
to
begins.
Mr. Kane, we can also find Blue Water Task Force is through Surfrider Foundation. You can find the water testing reports every other week on their website, and I put that in the chat. So I'm sure that'll be recorded somewhere.
Right on.
That's another place to find information. So
Thanks, Ian.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, back to you, Jessica.
I just had one quick comment. I just wanted, I know, I'm so short, sorry. It's all good. Okay, I just forgot to mention, for tech savvy people, there is a little QR code at the bottom of this flyer, but you can also access it from your actual computers, but if you like to use your phone. And then Uncle John, there is a great picture of the outfalls, like to show you where the pipe comes from the base and the Aikahi, like the Kailua wastewater treatment facility meets with an outfall and then goes out. Like,
Really pure.
yeah, it's when you go, I tested it today. When you go on the website, it's actually the first picture that pops up. So, yeah.
So when you say that it's going to Kailua Bay, it's really not. It's going off of Mokapu, right? The
Kailua.
Mokapu outfall is a mile out from Mokapu, not going directly into the bay.
Right,
Right,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, I pulled it up on my phone, but it chops it off a little bit. But when you pull it up on a computer, it shows you the whole picture.
Get my grandkids to help me.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, Hi'i?
I have a question for Christy, not related to any of this. I'm just curious, that big yellow floating thing out there by pyramids, what is that thing?
That is the University of Hawaii wave energy. It is actually going to be discontinued and will be removed. They should be already in the process. I know I saw the crane getting ready to take it out. So it was there to test wave energy, and apparently it didn't bring but what, 25% energy, something that wasn't substantial. So unfortunately, that particular model didn't work. No. Okay, we need.
Thank you.
Okay, Okay, thank you. Can I put on my community hat now?
Of course.
Okay, two things. One, I wanted to thank Windward Community College for hosting the fundraiser for the Windward Dog Park Hui, and thank Esther Kia'aina for getting us a dog park, which is very awesome and took a lot of work, and she's the only one who got it done. And second, I just wanted to say, if you have any invasive species questions, I can try to field some of those. I have done invasive species work for almost 15 years. And if I can't answer your question, I know exactly who to go to get the answer. Also, to bring up one thing, that there are non-chemical uses for treating invasive species. So I just want to let people know that that does happen, and it continues to happen. So yes.
Mahalo.
And then I'll be here after the meeting, and I can also give you a card. Like I said, please feel free to reach out to me, because if I don't know it, I will get you an answer.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Yeah, question? Yeah.
Aloha, Kelele Kahau, Waihole, Ohana. My question to the Marine Corps, my question is basically, do you folks show like a map or a plan of the water or the sewage inland, not just outside of the ocean? I'm just asking a question because we're talking about sewage. I know this is for, the inside of the land. Yeah. But my question is, because Auntie brought Heia up, so it rang the bell to me. Is there a map or some kind of plan that is, why not is it open to us public? Because basically you guys are on our land, and I like see if there's anything going inland. And that's what I'm asking. I'm not trying to be, get an action over there. I'm just asking because, sewage comes from our water, basically. So I'm just asking, is there some?
Mahalo.
If I understand your question right, so you're asking about the sewage. Like, are you asking traveling to the plant, like our collection system? It's okay. So on the Marine base, we have a sanitary sewage system, right? It's same thing. It's aging equipment built even before the 40s and upgraded very slowly since. So if you all the wastewater at all, you've probably heard of infiltration and inflow. Basically, anytime it rains, these ancient pipes, they have cracks in them. Rainwater seeps into the ground, seawater rises up, gets into the pipes. That's why we're getting these, 5, 6, 7 million gallon flows when, it's not more people flushing their toilets or something. It's just more rainwater getting in and processing. So this EA and this project is focused on the treatment process. So how do we, within the fence line of the treatment plant, how do we treat that much water? The follow-on actions of that is how do we address the infiltration and inflow. And so we have a study that's going to start this year, trying to identify, that there's only so much money to fix these lines, right? So I don't know roughly how many miles of sewage lines we have on base, but we're going to start studying all we call them trunk lines, and throughout the bases, this section of housing, section by the hangars, what are the biggest contributors to infiltration and inflow? So then we can prioritize our funding to go through and make those repairs.
Mahalo.
I would say probably not, but I can check. I don't think the base shares utility maps with the public.
Mahalo. Okay. Auntie Christy, I have a question. Anything else to report from Kaneohe Marine Corps Base? Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. If you guys want to review the EA, you guys again can check the QR code on the back of this pamphlet. There's a bunch of different websites and sources that you could find the EA at. For anyone online, right, there are printed copies at the Kaneohe Library, Kailua Library as well. Written comments can be addressed to Peer Amble, that's PEERAMBLE, comma, Stantec, STANTEC, capital G, capital S, Inc., and that's at 737 Bishop Street, Suite 3050, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. Comments may also be submitted via email to mcbh.wrf.ea@stantecgs, that's STANTECGS.com. All you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
I just wanted to let you know, it's at the Kaneohe one, it's at the pop-up library at Windward Mall.
Mahalo. That's important. Thank you. Windward Mall for the Kaneohe Library source.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, we're going to move on to community presentations. We have one tonight. We have the SMA major permit application presentation for 47-347 Lulani Street. We have Ryan. Ryan here tonight. Hi, aloha, Ryan. You can go ahead. Yeah, just let. Yeah, right on.
All right, aloha. I'm here today. My name is Ryan Kulowitz. I'm with White Space Architects. And I'm here to present a project to the community that will be going in for an SMA major permit, and just kind of go a little bit over what the project is and its relationship to the special SMA area. So this is the address for it. Is a single family home that was originally built in 1962. And it is going to be demolished and replaced with a single family home. It is being demolished because it needs to be brought up to current code and become more functional for modern living. And it is being replaced in almost the exact same location and is only slightly larger. It'd be moving about 15 feet away from Lulani Street, where it currently is right now, to make it easier for cars to get in to the carport, the garage there, and also to use that driveway as additional parking for the residents. And so for the next slide, I'll show you some photographs.
Sorry, give us 1 second. I think we're just trying to get the slideshow up.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah. Quick questions before we start.
While she's pulling it up, I just have a quick question as to why we have a SMA for this one, since it's not on the shoreline and it's already connected to the public utility.
Those are very good questions. This is DPP required. We went in to have them look at that, and we actually contested their initial ruling that we needed to go through with this, and we were denied for that as well. So we are
So you're here. Okay.
to
Sounds good. Thank you.
and so, yeah, the two in the upper left there, that's from the front, that's from Lulani Street. And that's just to kind of show you the location and the proximity to Lulani Street, how close it is. And one of the reasons we're redoing this thing is we're going to bring the garage level up a little bit so that the water from the garage actually runs away from the house. And not,
Can you zoom in a little bit bigger? I mean, make it really big.
Sure, yeah. All right. Yes, it's on the Mackay side as it goes towards. Yes, on the ocean side. It is, yes. There's a considerable slope to the property there.
land is moving down, so the driveway entry.
Yes, there will be a little bit of a change there. So the driveway will come up a little bit, and then the entry will stay roughly in the same place. Yeah.
Because of the flooding of the hill, the land comes down and distance changes. Is that what you're doing? In other words, there's constant change because of the way the land comes off the top of the hill. And so the distance between the edge of the driveway and the house, this is the land is always changing, making it bigger.
Yes, that's something I think has been happening over time. And there is a little bit of a flat area as you come right up the street, but it does quickly start to slope. But if I'm understanding your question correctly,
Is that the reason for this?
it's part of the reason. Some other reason is like just upgrading it to current code, the entire house, the structure, the electrical, plumbing, and everything like that is in need of repair. Was initially we were thinking of just remodeling the home, but it quickly became apparent that just wasn't. It was soon. We covered the cost of what it would take to redo the home better entirely, without having to with just a remodel. So it just made more sense to start over and make it a more functional home for the owners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's some of the images from the street, just to give you an idea of what that looks like there. And then the next one to the right, upper right there, that white box home in the center there, that is the home and the property. So right in the center of that photo. So we are considerably up. No work is going to be done below 50 feet above sea level. It's all going to be done above that point. And that just gives you an idea of where it sits in the neighborhood. That home we will be pushing, like I said, a little bit further away from the street. So I think about 15 feet, it'll be a little bit closer, but still dramatically much further back than any of the other developments around it. And then these are just kind of a series of going back a little bit further where the red arrow is the same house, showing where the shoreline is there, in that gap, that there's already some natural barrier to the shore. And then again, in the one to the right, just showing out more and more that it's quite further back. And that part right by the shore is actually another parcel that is not owned by the owners of this parcel. So we don't have access to do a survey, or we don't have control of that parcel at all.
So your property goes from Lulani Street to Kamehameha Highway?
Yes, goes down to roughly, Rick.
Sorry, I know we're in the middle of presentation, but while the picture's here, are you folks planning on adding an additional entryway from the Kamehameha Highway side?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah. I am not the owner. I'm with White Space Architects, and we are, the clients are. They're here, yes. So, yeah.
Right on. Go ahead, brother. Keep going.
Okay, so the next slide. So in the lower left there, you can see our property, subject property there. And if we can zoom in a little bit closer to that gives you an overall idea of where it is. So we're showing the 60-foot setback from the approximate shoreline. Like I said, we don't have the rights to do a shoreline survey there. So we're just going off the plat map. Where the red line is, that's the shoreline. So 60-foot setback from there gets us right to basically where our property line is there, right around the same area. And then there's a 15-foot waiver line, which is the 75-foot setback is that second line. And then the third line there is a 130-foot setback, which is the most stringent possible case scenario of what a setback would be for the SMA. We don't believe that applies to this lot at all, but that would be in the most stringent possible reading of the code. That would be what that, and we are significantly, and that diagram there is where we plan on the new placement of the home. So it's just a little bit further in from Lulani Street, like I said, and still well back from even the most stringent case scenario of the 130-foot setback. So, and then again, all work to be done is at a minimum of 50 feet above sea level. So we're not only are we significantly further back from setbacks, we're also considerably higher than would be necessary for coastal concerns. And this is an elevation, a site elevation, site section with those same lines at the bottom part there. So that's showing that closest one to the house is the 130-foot setbacks. So we're showing you how far away we are from any development, even from getting remotely close to the most stringent possible case scenario of the setback required. And those other lines are the 75-foot waiver line and the 60-foot SMA, typical SMA setback, which is just gets you to the other side of Kamehameha Highway. And then above the top images there are just showing the high tide, high water mark at 3.2 from the City and County of Oahu website. From sea level rise, so the worst case scenario there, it still has it at not even getting above where Kamehameha Highway is.
Jesse, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, brother. Quick question.
Oh, no, I don't. Just, logging calendar then.
Oh, okay.
I do have one.
Go ahead.
And then we have, I think, one final slide. Just showing some renderings of where the new project will look like. So it's very similar. We're really replacing in kind, the type of home, the type of style. I think we're making some, I would say, improvements for the livability of the home and to the code and usability and safety of the home. And we're also taking into account the drainage of the home and improving the drainage of the area and making sure we get all that up to current code and improve that aspect of the property. And that's really all I have. Just wanted to present the project and then answer any questions.
Jesse?
Okay, mahalo. From what I see, this all looks pretty standard. We have certain concerns that are unique to the space we live in. I'm not sure if you folks are moving here, if you're already part of our community. Okay, so right now, obviously, we're battling invasives. So whatever backfill is going to take place through this construction project, we obviously would want to be tested. So that would be something that would be a massive note in that DPP permitting process. And then also, obviously, the treatment of EV, if any, are found. And I think those are the only two notes that I have that I can see as of current. Also, if you plan to bring in, I'm not sure if you plan to bring in like a new landscaping and those kinds of things, then obviously CRB and LFA testing need to take place at the same time.
Can you clarify what EV is, please?
Oh, kalamai, are bones of our ancestors. If they happen to find any during the excavation process, that they're treated properly, respectfully, go through the SHPD process. Who need to adjust their processes as well, but the things are reported appropriately.
So, yeah, we're very concerned about that as well. Any environmental factors that we take very seriously.
Oh, Cliff?
So you're the owner. Do you live on a property right now? So that is not the
Uncle Cliff?
oh,
No.
that is not the house you live in, right? You're gonna tear it down, right? That's what's it gonna be, right? So the way it looks like, it's gonna be an 8-bedroom house, 9-bedroom house,
No.
5-bedroom.
It's just small, minor changes to like kind of what is existing.
It's like for like, Uncle Cliff, in the DPP terminology, like for like.
Yes.
Okay.
At Diraki?
Is this a one-family house? Oh, mahalo for coming to the neighborhood barn and presenting your plan. We appreciate that.
No, yeah.
Good luck
They've been
with
very correspondent and, eager to get onto the agenda. And so we wanted to make sure that we got them on as soon as possible. Any board members online with any comments, questions? Ian, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So welcome to the community. Of course, I wanted to ask about, we have big challenges with pools moving to septic systems and the quality of those septic systems. And so just, even though you're on the other side of Kamehameha Highway, can you help reassure us that this isn't going to add to those challenges, but rather?
And
help
they're
us?
part of the public utility. They're connected already to the city utility There's no sewer
Oh.
variant, there's no wastewater variants for septic or cesspool.
Got it, got it. Actually, thank you so much. You did say that, and I apologize for not recognizing that. Thank you.
All good. All good. No worries.
Just got to check. You know? Clean water.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from board members? I get one nice your house. What you guys doing? You guys gonna do barbecue? Look at patio. Mean. I know. Welcome to the community. Make sure you invite the board. Yeah. No, thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it. Yeah. Mahalo.
Parker, can I just
Yeah.
ask?
Uncle John.
The,
Just a quick
the,
one.
the bank that comes down to Kamehameha Highway, have there been issues with the stability of that bank?
Not that I'm aware of. The development isn't going to be anywhere near that area, so it should not be disturbed.
You mentioned drainage improvements. How will you handle those drainage? That drainage.
The civil engineer, so they're the ones that are going to be upgrading any plans and drainage. But it's something, you know, for the long-term benefit of everyone, including the owners and the community. It's something we take.
Sure.
Okay. We take seriously.
Okay, I'm very curious to know why this is a SMA major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
No, yeah.
we had some
feelings. Yeah. Okay. Mahalo no better. We'll go ahead and we'll take no action on this. Thanks for your time. Yeah. You guys can go ahead and just let the EPP know you guys came and nothing needed to be done on behalf of the board. Appreciate it, folks. Wait. Hi. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Question, brother. Go ahead. My bad.
Are we just here for courtesy or is this, is something happening here? Just courtesy?
Yeah. It's like formality.
And you need to come here because it's going to be either conservation, something changing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's courtesy. Yeah, it's just a part of the community engagement process involves neighborhood board consultation as a part of the permitting process.
Something?
No.
So it's typically it's an SMA major. It's typically over a certain threshold. It used to be $450,000 was the build, and in specific areas, flood zone areas, shoreline areas, ahupua areas, markers, things of that nature. I'm really not sure why they're here, other than yeah.
Because it's over a certain historical site or?
No, because the home is there already.
And because we're a very strong board and request this
Sorry.
EPP.
Just going to the mic. Yeah. Sorry, brother. No, yeah. Just for the record.
We were told by DPP that if any portion of your property was within that 135 feet, we needed to do this. We were
Okay.
initially told we didn't need to.
Okay.
Because as you saw in the pictures, we're not even close to
Okay.
135 feet, but DPP changed their mind and
I wonder if
here.
yeah. I wonder if they're using the TMK the size of the lot
Possibly.
versus the home. Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, yes, this is a new thing, but this might just be a one-off nuance that they're coming to us. But since they were requested by DPP, neighborhood's always the first stop because community has to input whether or not we want that there. But so yeah.
The whole base, and when I'm pulling permits for simple things that'll come here, but for something like huge happening, so I'm like, hey, what's the red flag for? So
Yeah.
courtesy is cool, but if it's something that needs to be kind of looked at, like because of things that just concerned that
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
we're missing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mahalo nui. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate the transparency and thanks for the concern. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on to residents' community concerns. Anything? Anything from anybody? Joe? Go ahead, Joe. And then we'll go.
Aloha, everyone. I have tall. I have two things. The first thing is like a key project announcement. So we just started collaborating with Vibrant Hawaii for the Ko'olau Resilience Hub network. And so the two coordinators for that are myself and then Olivia Wallace of Kahana. She's going to focus more Ko'olau Loa, and then I'm going to focus more Ko'olau Poko. I think it's a really exciting project. The core of the Vibrant Hawaii Resilience Hub. The thing that I think is really inspirational about the way that this Resilience Hub network is being built is they're like, Resilience Hub is 6 people who are committed to taking care of each other, and everything after that is equipment, and it's tools or trainings or facilities. And I think that Vibrant Hawaii on Hawaii Island has been extremely successful in providing those resources. So I'm just here today to say if anybody has like a super strong squad of ohana or people that live on a cul-de-sac together and they always think when the power comes out, it comes to my street like a day later than everybody else. I think that that's a good group to try and think about what asks can be made to the Resilience Hub network, and then the Hub network can do what we can do to try and provide those resources. There have been a lot of trainings about like freeze drying food so that if there's a disaster, we don't need to eat the MREs, we can eat chicken luau instead. There were trainings for like lifeguarding so that more of our programs can feel safe with having keiki in waters and streams. Lots of first aid, CPR, radio trainings, all kinds of things to empower us to take care of each other, because we're going to be doing that for a while before anybody else comes. So if you have questions about that, or you've got mana'o about that, you can email me, joew@keyproject.org. Me and Olivia only started like the last 2 weeks, so we're kind of picking up a new set of kuleana, but we're really excited about it, and it's going to be a great time. Okay. The other thing, I just wanted to say, every month that I'm here, I ask HDOA for updates about what they were doing with the $1.5 million. And I just wanted everybody to know that my current understanding of what is happening with the little fire ants is that they put $1.1 million of taxpayer money for this fiscal year into a contract with Terminex. Terminex to date has done no treatments that my uncle's house is supposed to be one of them. No treatments have come about because of that $1.1 million contract. And they are waiting for like 2 people that they have on HUA staff to go out and redo all of the little fire ant surveying in order to decide where the ants are. It seems like an improper plan for the expenditure of such a large chunk of money that should be tied to this fiscal year. That's my thoughts, and if anyone has questions or clarity, I would love to learn. Yes.
Apologies.
Yo.
Okay, Kalamai. So Terminex has done nothing yet because they're waiting for Department of Ag to identify where they want to treat first, or they've done nothing because they're not keeping up their end of the bargain on the contract.
I think that that is a really good question for anyone more connected to figure out. What I'm going to tell you is that my uncle's house in town has little fire ants. They got surveyed by the Department of Agriculture 2 months after I surveyed it with OISC. And that was on Halloween in the middle of December. And to date, no one has communicated with my uncle any plans for treatment or any treatments.
Okay, perchance, because I know members of Terminex quite well. Do you happen to have who their point of contact was so that I can follow up with them directly?
It's plant quarantine branch that's managing this contract with Terminex.
That's Darcy.
Darcy,
I think Darcy got moved. I don't know who. I
but
think
not on the state side, but on the Terminex side, on the private. We don't know. Okay, I will follow up with that directly myself.
Thank you.
Yeah. So John.
So can you give us an update on what's happening with treatment here in Waihe'e?
The treatment here in Waihe'e, we were working on drone treatments at the end of last year. I think that became difficult once the drone operators started doing the koki treatments in Waimanalo. Their time got a little bit harder to get track of. We're restarting a little bit of delimiting. There is an Akuimanu Road infestation right next to, I actually sent some photos of ant samples next to the ulu trees in the grasses. So down at the bottom, there's some at the top. Over here on Waihe'e, and then on Kamehameha over here. No delimiting has happened over there. I'm behind on the Waihe'e infestation. We're catching up on this one over here, and then Kapua is crushing it. Those are the 5 closest infestations to this building.
What help is needed? Where is the help most needed? What kind of help?
I think what we need to do, definitely test kits. I'm going to try and hold a meeting here at the end of April or the beginning of May where we can find more people in the neighborhoods we can be distributing the pesticides to. I think that we've got to have people that live on the streets really holding all of the treatment operators accountable for this stuff, and where those treatment providers are falling through, then organizations like Key Project and the other folks that have gotten some money for treatments can distribute directly to the neighborhood.
Mahalo.
From a quick conversation with Aaron Bishop at OSC just the other day, it sounds like Terminex is primarily focusing on the other side and OSC for Kahalu'u and Kahalu'u.
My understanding is that OSC was contracted for 25 infestations in Kaneohe with REPI money, and that those infestations are being allocated to OSC. However, there are almost 90 infestations on Oahu. One thing that I did find out is that my understanding as it is right now is that Terminex money is only being used for residential properties, which means that if, like, I don't know when these houses turn into ag lots, but I don't know if the boundary is when it's an ag lot, when there's an ag business, or when people are growing edible crops. I'm not sure what the boundary the Department of Ag is using to stop doing the treatments for Terminex. I think that there's a lot of questions and lack of clarity on exactly what the wording is in that contract and whether or not it's being fulfilled and whether or not it's appropriate for them to take longer than a year for the delivery of that service.
So, Parker, with that in mind, I think we need to have invasives as a part of our neighborhood board meetings at least quarterly and get folks like OSC and others. We need to make that a really high priority item for our neighborhoods.
Yeah, yeah. I'm open to doing that. We just, like I mentioned before, I posed this to the board before, yeah. I'd like to do committees. I know that wasn't something that was favored by everybody before, but if we want to start having organized things like park meetings and EV meetings and invasive meetings, then we're gonna, like, it's gonna, we only got Rachel for 3 hours and we'll be here till 12 o'clock in the morning talking about bugs. Like, that's a fact. And so if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to do committees and meet outside of this meeting and then eventually have those committees come back to the greater board and report back. So if you guys are open to that, I'm down. But again, we do have 3 hours and we're pushing into our second already. So just keeping that in mind. I'm down. I'm open to it. Or pushing into the third. Uncle Cliff, a quick one. Uncle Dan had a question.
Yeah, I got one for Joe. What you got after this meeting? We will listen for some music. I heard there's cookie frogs in the back road.
Over here.
Yeah, up the road.
I'll go look.
Another guy said, "Hey, you hear a cookie frog?" I said, "What cookie frog?"
I just wanted to shout out that HDOA has been responsive, very responsive to Koki, like single Koki reports. So I would recommend going online and calling the like 638 pest or whatever it is. But 643, thank you so much. If you're like, I hear one cookie, they'll come and kill it. If you hear a million cookie, they're going to be like, oh, we should have done that 5 years ago.
It's your neighbor, Uncle Cliff. It's your neighbor playing tricks on you. It's his phone. No, just joking. No, just joking. I'm just joking. Uncle Dan, go ahead. Quick question.
Should we be distributing more of these kits?
Yes, I think that everyone who does not know that they have little fire ants should check to see if they do have little fire ants. The infestations that we've been finding, the size of the infestations seem to indicate that they've been multiple years old. So just because they're terrible and will make your pets go blind and make you not want to do anything in your yard, when they come to like full density, doesn't mean that you're going to notice them immediately when they show up on your property. We're not used to getting bit by these fire ants. So people that have been on the infestations on the neighboring roads have said that they thought they were mosquitoes. They thought they were mites. They thought they were feeling like diabetes pains in their legs. There's all kinds of things people said that did not lead to them getting tested. So just test your yard. It's super easy. The problem is only get the homies. I really like the people that go out and do the delimiting. It's a guy named Jarrett Lau and this other guy named Ian. They're really nice, but the plan of having 2 people manage little fire ants for the entire island of Oahu failed when Hawaii Ant Lab was doing it, and it will fail again if it's Department of Agriculture's plan. It needs to be better funded. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Jesse?
Good job, Joe.
Yeah, there is like political. Sorry, you wanted to go, yeah? Resident community concern. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. Did you? Okay. Okay. Sorry about that again, brother. Yeah, with the ant stuff, it is political, right? There's DOA, there's an ant lab, there's DLNR, there's all kinds of hands that need to address it, and now get Terminex, right, and private contractors. But ultimately DOA is already telling us that with CRB and LFAs, it's not even about eradication or extermination at this point. It's mitigation and control. Like they're gonna be here, they're probably gonna stay here. There's very limited funding that goes into things like these when you also have housing issues and people issues. People forget about bugs, but people forget about that bugs also have a critical threat onto what ultimately become people issues. Yeah, like we cannot eat fruit and food that we grow, we get these kind of issues, right? And we cannot have pets in our yard if they're rolling around in ants and now they're going blind, right? So it's like things like that. Ultimately, we don't see on the front end, but on the back end, it does affect us as Ohana and community members. Yeah. Yeah. Mahalo. So we'll move on. We're gonna move on to board business. Can I get a motion to approve Wednesday, February 12 minutes?
So moved.
Yeah, motion, move in second, moved by Jesse, seconded by, member Rapun. Do we need roll call? Any amendments to the minutes? No? Okay. What? Sorry. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, yeah, so we'll just, take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Mahalo. We have approval of the Wednesday, March 12 minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. So moved by member Makainai, seconded by member Rapun. Any edits? Any amendments? Person online? Okay. No amendments. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mahalo.
Aye. Yeah.
Okay, we got board decision on SMA major application for TMK 14-7-014-010. This is the presentation that was hosted last month. Did the board have any discussion, questions? What do you folks want to do? What's the is there a motion to approve? Motion to oppose? Can you give context? Sorry, I was a little bit absent last one.
So this is for, I just want to, sorry, make sure I'm pulling up the right one and not giving you incorrect information. Yes, okay, so this is the one that was, this is for James Sippin, and this is for the build of the home right across from Wong's Village, not quite shoreline, but on the CPR lot in front of a home that is on the shoreline. They're looking for wastewater variance and to build a single family home, that one. Yeah. They're asking, they already came to us and presented like they needed to do their due diligence. So we're just voting or not voting, however you guys want to go about, and it's not required, no. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if you folks would like to take action, we can take action. If not, I'm in favor of taking no action. If I don't get a motion, okay, we'll take no action on SMA major application for TMK 147014-010. We'll be in contact with the contractor. Yeah, to just let them know. Moving on to board decision on Hi'ia State Park 6 to 9 month revocable permit issuance to Halau Nohona, Hawaii. There was discussion on that last meeting. Did we want to support any kind of resolution, Auntie
I support them having a lease up to a 6-month lease because they have the lease already anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Do we need something in place for what happens after the 6 months? Does anybody have, I've had several community members come up with certain proposals, but none have shown themselves here, so we have nothing to really consider.
We
But
need to meet with, we need to meet with representatives from Hi'ia State Park.
Yeah.
We need,
Yeah, I'm gonna work with Deputy Director Lambert. We'll try and get Kurt here. If we can get Kurt here, then I also want we'll have Kurt come. Kurt's got a lot of Ike I'd like to know about. Yeah, so we'll find out some stuff.
I guess the community got to know that there was also a question is if it's, should they give it up to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs?
Mhm.
A lot of the questions, I'm going to bring this up because a lot of the properties that the Department of Land and Natural Resources have been mismanaging the subject has been brought up, that if they can't manage it anymore, give it up to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. They said about 40 years of showing whatever, maybe keep the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in check. I don't know, but then my question, my answer to that was,
Yeah. No, yeah, agreed.
Got it.
So we'll go ahead and I'll continue to work with Gov's office, and then I'll keep you posted if you can have someone from the NER show up as well when they show up, just so we can talk. Yeah. Mahalo. E?
Sorry, Chair, can we go backwards to residents and community concerns? I was told that we have community members that weren't sure it was their time to raise
Oh, yeah.
something.
Sure. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna pause now at board business. We're at D. We're gonna pause there and we'll go back to residents and community concerns. Sorry, you guys. Yep.
So this is pertaining to Waihole Waikane. So I can kind of take notes and see how development is passed, how housing is passed. What happened is a project got passed from this board, and the project, it's up in Waikane and they want to build. And where they're building is they're building on Kahalu'u Kea, which is our Heiau. They're building right on top of the EV. And these things are just rapidly passing us. So because my concern when this came up and what you guys are talking about, how we pass buildings here as a builder and as also somebody that comes from the land, that's my concern. That's why I want to be able to share my knowledge and be part of that, because I got to put a stop to that. In Waihole, that project is being pushed on conservation land, but the studies of the EV that I literally take care of is just being bowled over. The heiau that is going on is sacred, and that shouldn't happen at all. Those things I don't believe was even put in front of you, but that's a project that's getting passed. It's already passed this board years ago, but it's in the DPP, and my plan is to not let it happen right on top of that particular area because of the secret from what's happening. So that's my main community concern here is to get more involved so that things are not just, being pushed.
Yeah. Couple questions, brother. Do you have the address or the TMK
Yes.
of the property?
Yes.
Could you share that?
I'll provide that.
Okay. Okay.
Is
And-
this the Paul Zhuang property?
Yes.
Okay. So you're aware. You get a little context, CE. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Has Shipty been notified about the incident? Has
Yes.
Shipty been notified about EV? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually up there protecting that to hold the space.
Yeah.
To make awareness to everyone.
Yeah.
And we had 49 officers come up to do an eviction, pulled us off Ina, put us at gunpoint, kept that on a down low. A lot of illegal stuff's happening up there, so we're here to say we're not gonna just stay quiet and we're not gonna just brush those things under the rug. We're gonna bring awareness and we're gonna make sure that the protocols are met. These particular men that came, they went out on a limb, and those kind of things it's not pono in my community.
Yeah.
And our community should be safe, and those things will be dealt with. But right now, it's just more about the EV and the heiau that it's on shouldn't be disturbed.
Right.
The water.
Jesse? Rocky?
I have a quick question. So is he not following the plan that he presented to us? Or is it that when they were beginning excavation, they found EV and then didn't treat it accordingly? What is
I
the,
believe that everything I'm talking about is just overlooked. As far as where the building is going to go, where it's sitting, the EV that's there, none of that is considered.
okay.
Rocky?
Just to make a comment about Mr. Kanye says, that the decision was made at the board years ago. Or every year, every other year we have an election, which we have election this month. I hope everybody sitting here would put in your vote. But another thing is, I know they're lineal descendants from Waikane, and maybe we should bring these people to the meeting, public meeting. And again, it's a state issue. Because if they went before Shipti, again, the Kuleana is the Department of Land and Natural Resources. So we need to get some answers in here. Assembly Board Board.
Yeah. I'd also, yeah, Uncle Cliff, go ahead.
So where is this? Where they gonna build? Is it Waihole or Waikane?
It's actually right on the mountain of Waihole Waikane. It's Kahalu'u Kea, which is its own ili right on it. So the new line, they split the heiau. In our old document, it is the heiau.
So
it's Waihole Waikane right on the
go,
mountain.
you take the Waikane road.
Yeah.
And go up.
Waihole.
You take the Waihole.
Yeah, you go all the way up to the last property where we had all all the ulu trees,
Oh, you take the top
where
road.
Martin Shiloh was.
Okay, you take the top road.
Right there, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, 1 second, Cliff. Same concerns, brother. Same issue. Okay.
So I'm Moleka. I'm one of the farmers on behalf of the Kane family. So I was arrested on November 8th. Under Paul Zwang, I guess he hired like 30 officers to come arrest me while I was just being a farmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I suffered injuries for it.
Go up.
And I think they need to really look at our stance, and what we was trying to tell them was that we was holding that aina in our possession. You know, the family, they actually have claims to that aina under the Royal Patent Land Commission Awards. So what Paul Zoeng did, he hired about 30 to 40 officers to take us off that aina and not pull us in the right court so we can make these claims and make these arguments heard. And so I want to let the board know to just investigate. I believe they're 48400 Waihole Valley Road. And it's called Ahule Hule Forest Conservancy LLC. And it says the healing of the land is clear, which is Heva. The lineal descendants is clear. So that's what they're really trying to say. So please investigate these criminals, these war criminals, and stand with Kohova Yupai Aina, stand with the Hawaiian Kingdom. The kingdom's coming back.
Holiday. Okay, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna park that there. I will agendize this. Yeah. I'm gonna make this a point. If we can go ahead and just get everything squared away with the address and the TMK, just so that we have the agenda language correct. I'd also suggest reaching out to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. If you haven't already, reach out to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Compliance Division. His name is Kamakana Ferreira. You can call him directly. We can get people on site to then further enforce SHPD to comply with state and federal law. Yeah. Any other comments? Quick comments?
Can we get Mr. Kane's contact information, please? I'd like to follow up with him directly because that's our sub-district as well.
Yes, 808-778-6472.
6472. I think you said that earlier, but thank you so much.
All of it.
Hello, if you can, I was gonna make my concern, but before I do that, can you just kind of really quickly clarify what this agendize mean? It's gonna be on the next board meeting?
Yeah, we can put it on the next one if that works for both of you, everyone here. Yeah.
Okay, and so my concern was just to let you know that, this is where we're seeing it live. And if I can just commend you all for just your board here, can you all visit all like the boards we go to? You guys are just, you're really awesome that you even mentioned Evie, that you bring it to the forefront, you ask questions and you really want to hear because you're really concerned. And again, just bringing it to the forefront that HB 511, it's, part of this, but I witnessed this as well. And I witnessed the non-following of their own state laws or city laws or rules and systems and protocols with no accountability. So mahalo nui for what you're doing. You're asking the questions and following up. So yeah, just wanted to say that this is happening. Mahalo.
Oh yeah, mahalo. Rocky?
Just a reminder to our community, although, we want to work with our community, we're not a court, we are an advisory committee. That is why we're going to bring the parties together so we can get into this battle. It sounds like a battle with, I know what you get into, but we can't get into that. Mahalo.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, just to add to Auntie Rocky's thing, that we are actually a volunteer board. We all dedicate our time here. Auntie Rocky, myself, we're lineal descendants of this space as well. My grandfather died in Waihole on our parcel right next to Scuba Kupau. So we feel these issues here, but yeah, we're just advisory. We can't give any legal advice. We can't do anything like that. The best that we can do is take it to the departments and take it to your elected officials and just make sure that everyone gets in contact with who we're capable of putting you in contact with.
Mahalo, Nai. I want to thank the board. Again, I have witnessed it myself, but I think if we have the board backing up the families, because there's other cases that the Kane family had won prior years ago, that area was created as a wahipana. And a wahipana is not just with the EV, it's with the properties of food, healing medicine in that area. And now there's people that are allotted to buy because they are registered in the DCCA. And that is the loophole that hurts our communities. I'm not, I have a nonprofit myself and I have a business. Now the DCCA wrote my okole to make sure that I was born and raised there. Why? I don't understand that. But for people that have nonprofits and have businesses outside of Oahu or Hawaii, yeah, and then they just come here and do what they want to do and able to just buy. And we have dedicated a area as a Wahipana. And these cases, and I'm just sharing because it's a big concern here in Hawaii, that a Wahipana is where we go to not just heal for our wounds, but our spirituality, for food, and for our ivikupuna. And these are the things that is most dear to us. Now, I'm not that, I'm not that great of a person either, but it's a very big concern because our Kiki is the next generation, and we don't want to show that, we don't know what we're doing or how we're doing it. But we want to come and show that I understand your volunteer. I understand what volunteer work is. I've done that for my many years. But if we can stress this concern and have the board recognize that this ohana and many ohana have fought and won their cases, and yet they're still allowed, people are allowed, they come and buy. And it's recognized in court cases, actual court cases that we can prove, and no one is listening. And that's all I wanted to share. And I thank you folks for volunteering your time. I thank everyone for coming, and I appreciate that. Mahalo.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, we'll stay committed to pursuing ivikupuna issues in this community. So long as I'm chair, I'll continue to commit that to you folks. I'll put you guys on the agenda for May. Yeah, if you guys want to continue to have this conversation. But yeah, again, just to echo, right? We are volunteer. We are of no legal standing, right? We're not senators. We're not lawmakers, right? We're the middlemen, right, between the community and the guys upstairs. So just as long as we can be that clearinghouse for you guys, yeah, and that middleman for you folks to have those conversations and convene those meetings, we'll do whatever we can in our power to help that. Yeah.
Aloha. We just want to say, for the record, I'm not here to criticize the board, but
no,
to say, hey, there's a little place that maybe I can help to make sure that little things are met, like EV and, special places, especially when the build outs are. I'm a builder, so I really get conscious to what's the ground, what's going on. So I'm here to serve you guys too, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys did. For years.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
There,
Ian, quick one.
Just add real quick. There is always a challenge with sacred sites on private land. So yes, we want to support that as much as possible. Way more so than even on the state lands where we can compel the government to act in such a way. So thank you for bringing these concerns to light. And it is really, truly about making sure that we know about those wahipana, those special places and cultural sites. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo. Okay. Any other residents' community concerns? Yeah. Jesse, yeah, quick one.
This is your guys' time to talk, but real quick, since we now have this big room, we moved out of the small room. I would like to start implementing community potluck for those who would like to participate. Even if you just want to come eat, you don't have to bring nothing. We just get what we get until it runs out, because I want to encourage more attendance from our community, because that's what this space is for. So next meeting, I plan to make something. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it'll be here. We'll set it up. Whoever else brings whatever, we'll throw it out. And yeah, so if you're online, come in person, come check it out. If you've never been with us, come check us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Mahalo. Yeah, I call that. Yeah, everyone comes to food, and people don't talk when the mouths are full. Yeah, it's nice. Or they talk more. Yeah, they enunciate. Yeah. Okay. Appreciate that. Any last ones? Okay. We're gonna go back to board business and then pick up from where we left off on agenda point D. Yeah, under board business. So that's board decision on Ha'i'a State Park 6 to 9 month revocable permit issuance to Halau Nohona Hawaii. Auntie Rocky had mentioned that she supports a 6 month, right? Because basically I have them already. So we'll defer this and take no action. Yeah, because basically as they hold 6 to 9 month right now, and then we'll just follow up with when we get some representatives from DLN over here. Mahalo. We'll move on to agenda point D under board business. We have adoption of resolution opposing wastewater variance application WW83 Doc 24 for 49716 Kamehameha Highway. Ian, did you send language over or have a reso ready? If not, I'm gonna roll them over. Sorry, you're on mute.
Let's roll it over. I did actually put language together. I didn't send it over to you. That was my bad.
No, not a problem. We'll roll over E, and then I believe we're also going to roll over F. We also didn't receive any reso language on that one either.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Vice Chair had mentioned that just because we might miss the comment period, yeah, for 5/10, I think the meeting is on like the 14th next month. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and take no action on F. We'll defer that, and then we're just gonna encourage public to go ahead and submit comments, yeah, during the open period. Moving on to G, we have adoption of rules of speaking. We have rules of speaking read or written, or did you guys change that last meeting?
I have a request because
Yes.
I'm going to be out of town on that date of our next neighborhood board meeting.
Okay.
Can we move the Ha'i'a State Park issue for the June meeting?
Yep, sure.
Mahalo.
And then rules of speaking. Did we have anything written or changed? Okay. Okay, no worries. So we're still working on the draft language for rules of speaking and finalizing that. So we're gonna roll over E, F, and G from board business onto the May agenda. We will defer D until the June agenda, and ABC is Paul. Yeah. So we got sub-district report. I'm sorry, Uncle Dan. Yeah. Yeah, just online camera decorum and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll just finalize language, put it in front of the board screen, and take a vote. Yeah.
Chair,
Ian,
real
go ahead.
quick on E. Well, there was at one point somebody was going to make a quick statement, a DPP representative about that item, and then he had to go. He couldn't stay on the last meeting that I attended. Unfortunately, I wasn't there at the last meeting, so I don't know if he did make any statements on that, but that was why I hadn't prepared it. So we can roll it over with the hopes that we can get some more information. He was going to say something about that, if I remember correctly. He came specifically for that.
Not a problem,
Yeah,
man. Easy.
So,
Yeah, we'll get everything finalized, and then we'll roll that over to May. We'll take the vote, and then we should have everything square.
thanks, I appreciate that.
Easy.
Aloha.
Parker, can I?
Yes, Uncle John.
Referring to Ha'i'a, we want, excuse me, we want to get Don Chang or somebody who can answer questions here, right? So
yeah,
I think that's the first step.
Yeah. Yes, that's what we're waiting for. We're gonna either get Kurt or Don or someone here to basically have answers and have that, and then we'll agendize it probably sometime in June.
Take us past legislative session as well.
Yeah, so it's after session, and we'll probably have a little bit more time with them as well.
The point I'm getting to also is that, every time you get some people like that, we get excuses. We're tired of excuses. We need solutions. Mahalo.
All right. No further board business. We'll move on to sub-district reports. Sub-district 1. Sub-district 2. Sub-district 3.
Okay, District 3, we had a grant. Senator Kahalu'u put in $200,000 a year for two terms, the $400,000 altogether to try and get rid of the invasive poison Nemo they found right in outside of Moku'oloi. And so yesterday, we discussed it yesterday at the NER meeting. And for those of you who don't understand what the NER is the National Estuarine Resource Resources, whatever. But anyway, we suggested to the state, to the DLNR was there also. We suggested to the DLNR that these funds be given to one of the NER partners, because the NER partners are the ones that's right in there, the He'ia estuary. And because the Limo is in the He'ia estuary, and they're going to bring somebody from the Department of Land and Natural Resources, again, don't know what department. I think they're just going to utilize the monies. We want the monies to be put, that we know something's going to be done for our community, and we want to know about it. Just sending, you know, the sub-district 3. Another thing is that, talked about the canoe club, got to walk across to go up to He'ia State Park. For almost 10 years, we've been asking for the crosswalk. It's still not there. City crosswalk, just across the street from the bus stop to the canoe club. What's so hard about that? Do we got to go and paint our own crosswalk? It's about time the city take care of Kuleana. I'm just so sick and tired of this, you know. We can come here for 10 years and talk about it. You know, we need solutions. We don't need no more excuses. Another thing is, we didn't have the police department here tonight. Just a week ago, I picked, my grandson picked up a suitcase, a small little suitcase on wheels, and a laptop bag right in the back of my bathroom on our property. From the homeless people. We looked at, searched it out. I took that to the police station because in that bag, there's a fanny pack with no ID. The reason we looked in it because we were looking for an ID. There was a razor blade, there were cutters, and there was drugs. I told my grandson, don't touch the drugs because today there's so much dangerous drugs. I wanted a feedback. I wanted to know what was with the police department. It wasn't here tonight. But I want a feedback on what's happening over there. And I know a lot of us in the community have the same problem. Too many of the drug agents coming into our properties, but it comes right behind your back door. We got to watch it. That's my Sub-District 3 report. Mahalo.
Sub-District 3. Uncle Cliff?
Yeah, I'll get. Virginia.
2. You get one. You get one for 2. Go.
Are we going to get back on our sidewalk from Temple Valley come over? Are we going to get that back on our project? We started from Temple Valley, that sidewalk that goes nowhere.
Uncle Cliff. That's
Are
not
we going to get back
That's
on
not
that?
even your sub-district.
Huh?
That's not your sub-district, Uncle Cliff.
Talking about 2 right now. You're talking about 5 sidewalks. Sidewalks in 5 and by Temple Valley. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We got to redo that, continue that out. Because
Clifford.
right now,
Clifford, start with your sub area. The sidewalk can start there and connect the other way.
Yeah. Okay. Sub-District 4. Is Uncle Ken online? No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just
I
there
have
he
an
is.
update on Clifford's issue.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I just spoke, the update to the bicycle plan includes that extending that short section that Clifford just mentioned to Clifford's house. So it's going to be added to the bicycle plan. And I sent him over a PowerPoint presentation from 2011. So that is something new and it passes through my district. So I figured I could mention it. And that's basically all I've got.
Cool. Right on. Thank you, guys. Anything for 4 other than that? No, I mean, but like that's the only thing you get, Uncle Ken? That's it? I think the only
As
thing.
far as,
Okay.
you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, when I drive down Ohuimanu Road, the part that would connect to Okana Roadside, yeah, the part that's closest to the Uluchi project. When you're coming down that road, all the brush that is along the housing project side, approaches so much onto the road that it then pushes vehicles to cross the middle of the road on what is a very blind spot. Someone gonna get hit if not already. And there's a lot of kids and a lot of e-bikes, a lot of golf carts, a lot of kids driving golf carts, no helmet, right? Whatever. it is what it is, but I mean, ultimately, you just gotta be aware, right? Because they probably not gonna stop playing. We the drivers, we still gonna be using the road, right? So I think that's a big concern. Also I had to change my oil. So I had to catch the bus one day. I got dropped off I got dropped off at the wastewater treatment plant and then pressed the crosswalk sign to cross into Ohuimanu Place, right? On that one there. The light doesn't change because it's barely a stop. And so you just basically gotta wait and kind of frogger your way across the street to get home. And like it's like 15, 25 minutes you waiting for this light change. And you just lose hope. You just eventually cross. You lose hope. And so and it's not a covered yeah, I mean it's not a covered station either, right? So as we in wet country, please cross with go. Yes, Uncle Dan.
Can we bring that up in the next meeting with the mayor's
Yeah.
rep?
So
Yeah, I'll bring that up with
Both
the
of
mayor.
those.
I'm two
Both
houses
of
up
those.
on the right. You
Yep.
can just pop in the garage, no problem.
And I see your car sitting right outside. Mahalo, Uncle Dan.
Parker,
Yeah, 5.
Aiali'i and Ahuimanu Road.
Oh.
Yeah.
ILEE.
I brought up to you about speed table.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then Uncle John also did mention speed tables on ILEE and Ohuimanu Road. That is where school buses come to pick up kids right on the corner. I do often, I think the school bus comes something around between 7:15, 7:30-ish. Yeah. So that's when the buses are coming, right? And then let's also remind everybody on a single lane road, don't go around the bus, right? Obey the stop signs and the flashing lights. Those are real laws. You will get a fat ticket if you go around it, but also you might injure another person's child who lives in the community. That's way worse than a ticket. So let's just be safe and be aware. Uncle John did want me to bring that up to the mayor's office, and so we'll probably do that when we get them back in person next month. Thank you. We'll go on to Subdistrict 5. Any reports? And then 6, we're still waiting on reps. Okay, we got announcements. The next regular board meeting is going to be scheduled for Wednesday, May 14th, 6 o'clock here at Key Project. I believe it's still going to be in this large room. So thank you to the guys at Key for moving us over here. Again, we will have the potluck. Mahalo to Jesse and then anyone else who wants to participate. City and County of Honolulu and Hawaii Food Bank are partnering to fight against hunger. Rachel will be collecting any donated canned goods tonight at the end of the meeting. If you folks have anything, you can go ahead and give that to her. She'll collect that on our behalf. And then I do have one more announcement. There is a National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant right now for a National Coastal Resilience Fund project. Pre-proposals are due April 6th. This would be for any kind of project that a nonprofit or some kind of entity like that or an organization would want to partake in that would strengthen coastal resilience. This would include focal species like limu, honu, honuea, various birds, right? Albatross, if you're looking at alala, restoration and stuff like that, EEV stuff like that. What? Oh, I'm sorry, not April. I'm sorry, May. May 6th. May 6th.
Thank you.
May 6th is the pre-proposal deadline. So we have about a month to put whatever you guys want together. But check it out. Minimum funding amount is $1 million. Max is 10 million. So it's a big grant. So that's the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, NFWF, and it's the National Coastal Resilience Fund. No worries. Easy. We're gonna go to adjourn. See you guys next month. Mahalo.
I got a question. How come the video has gotten real bad in the last